Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about anything it is that you're doing on YouTube, I've got a form down in the description. I actually dropped it into the chat here as well. So make sure that you do. I'll just go ahead and pin it at the top to make it easy. So make sure that you go ahead and get your question into the form right now so that I can get it answered here on the stream today. So if you're a regular viewer here, then you will notice that, D isn't here at the moment. He might swing in a little bit later and just, stop by and say, hey. But for right now, we are kind of adjusting sleep schedules and things like that, getting ready for some big events that are coming up here in a couple of days. So, people are saying congratulations, and they saw my community post and all of that as well. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the kind words in that community post and for the mentions here as well. I really, really appreciate it. And today we are, still doing the same thing in terms of answering your YouTube questions. I may end up stopping maybe 30 minutes ahead of our normal schedule, just because, like I said, we're trying to get our sleep all sorted out. So we might end up doing that. But I just wanted to, still hop in here and answer some questions and hang out for, our regular Saturday thing. But it is just a little bit different today. So before we get into the questions, Home Rapid Repair, happy Saturday. What's going on? Little Crafty Nook, thank you. Jerry, what's going on, man? Hope you are doing great. Frank's World of AI, thank you for the congratulations. Tan going in the kitchen, thank you as well. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Let's see here. iPhone Chris, what's going on, dude? Hope that you are doing great. Livestream Consultants, what's going on? Hope you are doing fantastic as well. So yeah, as we get into the stream today, I do want to let you know that today's stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, which is the tool that helps you in all kinds of different ways with your YouTube channel. It helps you optimize your videos for discovery, helps you find videos that people are actually interested in watching. It helps you test your thumbnails. This is especially important if you are somebody that's targeting YouTube search, because, or if you just want more information in addition to what YouTube gives you, it's a great tool to where they give you a full report on which actual pages of YouTube your videos are performing best, which is great. In addition to that, they have a bunch of little quality of life tools as well. Things like the bulk update, the bulk description updater. That's something that I use from time to time. And that particular one makes it where you can update all of your video descriptions or the video descriptions that you want. You can swap out links or just like text blurbs or whatever you need. You just say, find this and replace it with this, and it'll do it through all of your video descriptions, which can, in some cases, save you days worth of work. But you can try that for yourself at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. And this stream is co-brought to you by StreamYard, which is what I'm using to stream this right now. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because it's easy to use, and they make it easy to bring guests on, play background music, those sorts of things as well. But StreamYard is a live streaming tool for content creators and, pretty much anybody that wants to live stream. And it's kind of live streaming on easy mode. So you can try StreamYard out for yourself at nicknimmin.com/StreamYard to see if StreamYard is a good fit for you. And another, just a quick shout out to the other, channel sponsors as well. Shout out to Opus Clip, shout out to Fundmates, shout out to, Camtasia, because we work together sometimes. Shout out to, Uscreen and, everybody, shout out to, everybody that I work with, currently, and that I've worked with, just over the last, year. So as we get into this today, let me see if we have any questions in here yet. We do. So we're going to go ahead and get into the questions. But just a couple of things. If you are just joining us, we are talking about all things related to YouTube. So if you have a question about anything it is that you're doing on YouTube, no question is too small. No question is too silly, because sometimes when people are getting started with things, they feel weird asking questions that they feel might seem obvious to other people and things like that. I deal with this when I'm asking people questions or asking D questions about the guitar. I do it anyway, and I just ask questions, when I have them. But, you just have that feeling this is probably a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So if you do have a question about anything it is that you're doing, go ahead and drop it into that form. Again, it's down in the description, also pinned at the top of the chat right now. If you are watching this on X, or if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you can go to nicknimmin.com/ask, and it will send you to the same exact form where you can get your question answered in the same exact way. And again, that's nicknimmin.com/ask, ASK. Tom Nash in the house, what's up, dude? Hope that you are doing fantastic. So yeah, look, I was when I was getting started today, getting everything set up. Like right before we went live, I was like, man, something just isn't right. Yeah, I mean, I know that, one of the things is that D isn't here, but like it's been so long since I've, done like a full stream here that I was like, I kind of lost track, and I was like, okay, there's something I'm missing on my screen, and I forgot to bring like the YouTube chat over because I've got like my kind of way that I do it, and it's just been, quite some time. So it was a little bit kind of awkward, doing, getting everything all set up and all of that stuff, which is pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely, Tom. You can absolutely get that on a shirt. So we're going to go ahead and get into the questions. The very first one is from Home Rapid Repair. He does home improvement content. The goal of the channel is to be a trusted source of information. The question is, thank you, Nick, for all your help. My AdSense is at record highs. However, I've been hearing from other creators that after the first of the year, the revenue will plummet. Typically, your AdSense account will take a hit when the new year comes, or when the new year happens. And the reason for that is because right now everybody ramps up their ad spending for the holidays. And then after all of that is over, then, they've kind of blown, budgets and things like that. And they have to be a little bit more conservative, since they are starting the new year. So because of that, you probably will take a hit. But it's not going to be, most likely, it's not going to be anything that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, now I can't like do this anymore. It's not going to be that bad. But you will most likely see a reduction. But here's the thing. All it takes is a couple, good videos to make up for the, for the difference that you might take. So another thing really quick, I do want to let everybody know, and then we're going to get into the questions is, or I'm getting to the next questions, is that YouTube is now rolling out the multi-language audio to where they will dub your videos for you. If you have this feature, you can see it inside of your Creator Studio. I just want to give you some advice about this particular tool. Really cool. It's going to give you the opportunity to reach more people around the world and that speak different languages. And how it works is you upload your video and then you press a button and you basically tell them that you want it to dub that video, and then they're going to dub that video. Now, make sure that any of the videos that you do get dubbed, just double check them. I had a thing, and keep in mind, this was when they were in beta, and they have beta because they have those testing times, so they can catch things like this. But during the beta period, when I was testing it, I had an issue to where it was doing my videos in a female voice instead of my voice. I mean, maybe it thinks that I sound that way. I don't know, but it was doing it in that type of voice. So because of that, just make sure that you do go in and you just double check after you do get them, processed on your videos, so that you can just make sure, everything is right. In addition to that, you have your audio sorted in that regard, but just as a heads up, because, they are a sponsor of the stream, but I'd be telling you about it anyway. TubeBuddy has a tool that I think it might even be part of their free plan. But basically, if you're going to be translating your spoken word, then in that particular case, you should also do your titles and descriptions. So TubeBuddy has a tool to where you can go into your language settings for each individual video, and you can say, translate this title and this description into, Spanish, for example, or Portuguese, and then you just hit the button, and then it will just do everything for you automatically. So that's like a super easy way to get the metadata or the title and description also translated, so that you are not just, so you're not just reliant on the audio. Because the reason that's important is because when it comes to the audio, they're going to click on the video and come in and watch it. But if the title itself isn't translated, then in that particular case, you might not capture them. Oh, okay. So they are. Okay. So it looks like they are all for Nicky Nimmin. Yeah, got it. So just make sure that you do double check that. Make sure that you do also translate the title and the description, because the title translated in their language is going to be what's going to get people to click. And I know people that are using this feature, and they've been using it for quite some time. They've been using YouTube's version. They've also been using Daryl Eads' Ditto Dub version. If you go to dittodub.com, he has like all of the languages in there, the top languages, where YouTube, I think, is only giving you 2 right now. But what some people are doing is they're getting like serious increases in multi-language audiences, and they're able to see that in their stats, they're able to see that in their ad revenue, and they're able to see that in their communities. And because of that, they are adding additional things that are region specific in their video descriptions and things like that for those new communities that they're bringing into what it is that they're doing, and creating entirely new fan bases that they would not have been able to get in touch with otherwise. Yeah, Nikki Nimmin would be the thing there. That's funny. So so really quick, Nerds World Gaming, before I get into the next question here in the forum, says, do you think that it's too late to start a gaming channel? No, but it's not too late to start any type of channel. But the thing is you just have to make sure that you're willing to do what it takes to get attention to that channel if you're wanting to seriously grow that channel. Like if you're just starting it and you're just wanting to play a game, upload those videos to YouTube, have some fun, maybe meet some other people that are interested in that game, play together, those types of things, then in that particular case, there's not a lot extra that you have to do. But if you are starting a gaming channel or any channel right now, and you are wanting to, turn it into something, and you're wanting to make a channel that's a resource for a certain type of content for people, and you're wanting to grow your subscriber count, your view count, maybe make some money off your YouTube channel, things like that, then in that case, you got to make sure that you are taking the right approach. I have a video coming out about this, about how to do that actually in 2025. But the core concepts are the same. So, you have to make sure that you have a clear target in terms of who it is that you are trying to serve with your content. So in the gaming situation, it would be, people that are interested in that particular game, but then you also have to get into nuance. So you have the people that are interested in that particular game, but then you're going to have people that are interested in watching that game. Are you trying to serve them, or are you trying to reach people that are interested in playing that game and learning all the tips and tricks and things like that about that game, or those types of games, right? So just getting clear on who it is that you're trying to reach and exactly what it is that you're going to offer is going to be super important. In addition to that, making sure that you are consistent, and not just for the sake of continually uploading videos so that you can keep plugging into YouTube system, but so you can keep practicing. Because as you keep practicing, as long as you're paying attention to how people are responding to your videos over time, that's going to allow you to get better. You're putting in more reps, right? So because of that, you want to make sure that you are practicing and you're publishing on a regular basis. As another part of consistency, you do also want to make sure that you are, just consistent in terms of like your branding and things like that. If you're thinking about those sorts of things right now, you also want to, in addition to that, you want to make sure that the topics that you're talking about, that they are, in your games, you want to make sure that the games themselves, that there's enough people that are interested in those games to actually make the individual games that you're playing worth it. If not, then you have to learn how to package those videos in another way that might introduce people to those games and pull people in that way. But these are all of the things that you need to do in order to take it from like, hey, yeah, I'm just doing this for fun, to, okay, now I'm going to, really start, trying to take this seriously so that I can turn this into something serious, so that I can generate revenue from it. I can grow a community and all of those types of things that, everybody, wants, out of YouTube. So the next question that we have here in the forum, and by the way, if you are just joining us, we're talking about all things YouTube. If you have a question about anything it is that you're doing, make sure that you do put your question down in the form that is pinned at the top of the chat. It's also down in the video description as well, so we can get your question answered here on the stream today. So let's hear. So the next question that we have is from the Sicilian Life. Been making content for less than a year. It's a travel channel. The goal of the channel is to share their journey with family and friends and to help Sicilian Italians connect and make some money. The question is, what is your recommended standard operating procedure for post publication and time frames? Wait a week to post on Facebook groups, Instagram, email lists. Thank you for everything you guys do. So for me, I don't do any of that stuff. When I was getting started, I did. I just went bonkers on it, right when I was getting started. And I just wanted to put my videos in as many places as I possibly could. These days, I wouldn't take, that approach, and I wouldn't recommend, you take that approach necessarily, because you want to make sure that you are putting your content in front of the people that are most likely to enjoy it. So if you are sharing it somewhere, just make sure that the groups or the accounts that you're sharing it to, just make sure that they're all in front of the people that you are trying to reach with your content. But in terms of the time frames, you can do it right when you publish a video. That's perfectly fine. You can do it a few days later if you want to. The idea is that YouTube is going to have its own, we'll call it accounting, right? So it's going to have its own accounting. So when you publish your video, it's already going to be tracking on platform what's happening there. With that, they're going to be tracking how people are responding from a homepage, how people are responding from the subscriber feed, how people are responding from suggested videos, and so on. And they're going to, tune their system to that. Okay. Now, typically you hear people say what I just said in terms of make sure that you are sharing it in front of the right people. And the reason for that is because if you share it out to, let's say, a Facebook group, well, in that particular case, if people come in from that Facebook group and they watch that video for just long enough for YouTube to say, hey, these people interacted with this video, next time they log into YouTube, let's show them some more content, right, from this channel. Then in that particular case, that's where it becomes really important to make sure that the right people are seeing the content. Because what you don't want to happen is if you share it in the wrong place and it just gets flooded from that particular place, but they're all the wrong people, then YouTube's going to take a percentage of those people that it's detected that might have enjoyed that content, and it's going to show it to them. And if they don't respond because, the way that you set up the post in the Facebook group, for example, isn't similar to how you get people to click on YouTube. And because of that, when YouTube shows them your content, they just don't click on it. Then that's where, things can kind of start working against you, because then it can hurt your click-through rate and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, sharing your content is fine, but you just want to make sure that you do it into groups that are appropriate for what it is that you're doing. So people that are interested in Italy in your particular case, or people maybe that are actually traveling there. And in terms of like email list, stuff like that, you can do those types of things too. Like in your case, if you have an email list around people that are watching your content, you can absolutely send that out to them. You can do it right at the time of publish so that you can just kind of get some additional information there, get some, some engagement, things like that, because those people are already into what it is that you're doing. You can do it, right then, or you can let YouTube run its cycle. And then as as the traffic starts kind of waning a little bit, then you can hit it with your email blast, right? And then if you wanted to, you could do the same exact thing to where you're like, okay, here's the email blast. And then by doing that way, you'll be able to, really, you can check in your stats anyway, but you can just kind of track the effectiveness just looking at the real time for that, right? And then the same exact thing goes for, sharing it into Facebook groups and things like that. But I'm going to give you another tip. I'm actually going to show this to you real quick, just in case you don't know. So when it comes to YouTube, let me find this on my account here. So when it comes to YouTube, sharing is great. However, when you are sharing, you do want to make sure, I don't know if I can show this or not. You know what? I'll show it anyway, and we'll just kind of see how it we'll just kind of see how it goes. No, you know what? Yeah, I'm not going to show it. I don't want to break an NDA or anything. So yeah, I can't show you the back end, but basically I'll tell you how to get there. So what you want to do is you want to click into your video. Once you click into your video, you want to go to advanced mode go to your analytics, then go into advanced mode. Next, go into your traffic sources report. You're going to see that right now. You're going to see that right around the middle of the page. And then when you go into your traffic sources report for that video, you want to go into external. And then once you're in external, then you want to see right there how exactly people or where the views are coming from. And you'll see Facebook, you'll see Instagram, you'll see all those. And when you are looking at that, what you want to do is you want to go over and you want to look at how long those people are actually participating in your video, how long they're watching for. And if you find that, hey, when I send it to my email list, they stick around, like those people are in. But when I send this to, like when I post on Instagram or I share it in a Facebook group, they come in and they watch for, 30 seconds and then they're out of there, right? Then what that starts to do is that starts to help you identify where you should be sharing your stuff and where you should be spending your time based on where people are receiving the most value based on the reflection that you're seeing in your traffic sources report for that particular platform, right? Per video. So that will help you just kind of stay on track in terms of just making sure that you're spending your energy in the right places. Let's see here. So next up, hey, thanks for the super chat.
Super chat.
Yeah, thanks for the super chat on that too. I appreciate it. Let's see here. So next up on the list, iFund Chris, thank you.
Super chat.
For the super chat as well. I appreciate it. Member for 26 months. Appreciate that too, my man. Appreciate it. And let's see here. Adventures. Thank you for the super chat as well. Says, hey, Nick, great to see you. Says, I've uploaded a YouTube short this morning, and ever since released that, my video doesn't get any reach whatsoever. So if you just uploaded this morning, give it time. If this is your very first short that you've ever uploaded to YouTube, then you definitely want to give it some time. The reason for that is because, YouTube is probably trying to figure out who to show it to right now, their system. So what you want to do is you want to go, well, if it's a short, you're going to be, you'll get impressions on the short. So just go make sure that you are getting impressions impressions on it. And you can see this inside of your analytics. But if you find that, hey, I published this and then like a couple of days have went by and I'm not getting any impressions on this, I'm definitely not getting any views on this, then in that particular case, you might want to either re-upload that video, just completely delete it and re-upload it. But that's if it's at 0 and everything is zeroed out. But then when you do that, make sure that you also hop on x.com or Twitter, and that you send a tweet at Team YouTube and you let them know that you are having that type of issue with your content. Brockton Magnet Fisher
Super chat
says, Nick, thanks for all you do. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. Glad that you are getting value out of the content. So next up on our list, we've got Good Optometry Morning. They upload when they have time, but on YouTube a year or more. It's an education channel. The goal of the channel is education public about eye career. The question is, could you explain what you know about YouTube promotions? Is this a good option to do? Whitelisting in a brand deal. Could YouTube promotions interfere with the organic growth of my channel? Yeah. So I wouldn't do YouTube promotions. I would try to avoid that if you can, unless you directly have something to sell that's going to be beneficial to you. Oh, you know what happened? Give me 1 second here. I forgot, I ran on battery and I forgot to actually plug my camera in. So I will just give me about 30 seconds.
I'll be getting my fix in my kitchen, but look at the logo, the plug for the show.
All right, there we go. So when it comes to promotions, like the reason that you want to make sure that you do have something that you can get an actual return on your investment when it comes to promotions is because a lot of people will look at that in terms of a shortcut for bringing attention to their YouTube channels. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I'm just, spreading awareness about this. So a lot of people look at the promotions tab as a shortcut. And if you're looking at it like a shortcut, and you haven't learned how to get people to organically respond to what it is that you're doing yet, in that particular case, what's going to likely end up happening is you're going to spend a bunch of money on ads. This is what happens. Like if you just look around the internet about this, you're gonna see this. But basically, you're gonna spend a bunch of money on trying to bring attention to your channel. But if you still haven't learned to get an organic response in terms of I publish a video and people respond to that video, then in that case, what's going to happen is as soon as you stop spending money, everything's going to come to a screeching halt. And then all of that money that you spent is essentially going to be a waste. So if you do have something to sell and you're going to use it for that reason, and then you are basically using it as part of, your marketing, for lead gen, then in that particular case, you can use it in that regard. But even still, like I still wouldn't, but you can. If you want to. And in terms of like brands getting you to use that promotions tab, I would also try to avoid that with them as well. There is an option to where you have a checkbox inside of your video details page for every video that you upload, where you can actually prevent people from not running ads, but from using that video itself as an ad. But when it comes to brands running ads on your videos or, trying to promote your videos or boost your videos, I would also be really cautious with that. Some people are going to do it anyway, but I'd be really cautious with it and just make sure that, that you do communicate that with the brands that you're working with. Because that's one of those situations, right, to where like, because they're the brand, right? They're not thinking about, they might not even understand how YouTube works. And if they don't understand how YouTube works, then what they might do is they might run ads that are going to go out to some people that are going to be a laser fit for them and for you. And then they're also going to possibly run ads for, places or people that maybe are not a perfect fit for your content, but maybe are a perfect fit for their product. And then when that happens, you're going to have a bunch of people interacting with your YouTube channel that aren't a perfect fit for your content, which is what you need as a content creator. So because of that, I would make sure that you are, that you just are mindful of all of that. Hey, congratulations, Mindset Start here. Nice work. Love that. Love, love, love. So next up on the list, we've got Simply Sherry. And if you are just joining us, I do want to remind you, we are talking about all things YouTube. So if you're a content creator, you're in the right place. Two, if you have any questions about anything it is that you're doing on YouTube, there's a form pinned at the top of the chat. Got one down in the description as well, where you can put your question in there. No questions too small, or no question is weird or anything like that. Just as long as it's about YouTube, you are good to go. And if you are watching this on X or on LinkedIn, then in that particular case, you can go to nickniman.com/ask, and it's going to redirect you right to this same exact form. Brad G. Johnson in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing fantastic. Book's all the way over there. Not going to get up to get it. But Brian G. Johnson, what's going on, my man? Hope you are doing fantastic. Nice to see you in here. Hope you're doing great. So Simply Sherry does daily content. She's been making videos for 1 year or more. The type of channel is easy recipes and lifestyle content. The goal of the channel is I want to share my life and recipes and help other mothers with meal ideas that are on a budget. The question: how can I get more watch hours? I have the subscribers, but I'm not getting the watch hours. A few different ways. One, make some longer videos. Two is you can do live streams. Live streams are great for collecting watch time, but when it comes to live streams, you have to actually have people hanging out, in the live stream to collect the watch time, and you have to leave them public on the YouTube channel, but that's a good way. Three is through your content strategy. So basically, if you are sharing recipes, then in that particular case, you can make a series and make that particular series a playlist and try to drive the people that are already enjoying your content into that particular playlist in order to get additional recipes based on that particular subject, or, different variations of that recipe, or however you wanted to do it. But putting together a series around something is a great way, as long as you can get people to watch, videos back to back. But live streaming, like I said, is great. Like in your case, if you're showing people how to cook and things like that, you could set up your camera in your kitchen and you could do a live stream in your kitchen. And as long as you have people coming in and hanging out, then in that particular case, you will be collecting the watch time on those viewers as well. And other little details too is you also want to make sure, and this is one that I think people really underestimate, is we're actually going to talk about two things here. And we'll just do it one. We'll wrap the whole thing around just optimizing your entire YouTube channel for making it easy for people to find more of your content. That's another great way to get more watch time and views and everything. So what I mean by that, in case you haven't heard me talk about that before, is make sure that you do have your channel page set up. Make sure on your channel page that you have, playlists. Like if you do recipes, for example, in your case, I would have, recipes around desserts, recipes around dinner, recipes around lunch, recipes around breakfast, and just start breaking them down into playlists, healthy recipes, those types of things, so that if somebody is interested in that and then they go to your channel page, then they can quickly and easily find more of that content that they're enjoying from you, right? And then in all of your video descriptions, make sure that you do have links to other content that is relevant to the viewer. Not everybody that watches your video is going to go down to the video description, but you do want to, put those links down there for the people that do go down into your video description so they can easily find more content. And don't just put the link. You want to make sure that you put a blurb about what that video is about. Hey, if you like this, cookie recipe, you're going to absolutely love this brownie recipe. I made it with pretty much the same ingredients. Check out the video here, right? And then by doing that, for the people that go down there and they do explore, then as they hit that video, then they can go and watch another video as well. Other things are making sure that you are using your pinned comment on your YouTube channel. So when you publish a video onto YouTube, you can write a comment, your very first, comment on the video, and you can say, hey, same exact thing. Hey, if you enjoyed this cookie recipe, I have this brownie recipe that I made with the same exact ingredients. You're going to love it. Check it out here. And then over on the far right-hand side, there's a little 3-dot menu on every comment. You can see this. If you press on that menu as the creator on your channel, you're going to have the option to pin that comment. And then in that particular case, some people are going to see that comment prioritized when they go down into the comment section. Also, make sure that you're using cards in your videos that link to other relevant content. Make sure that you're also using end screens in your videos that link to other relevant content as well. Let's see here. So as we go, hey, iPhone Chris says he thinks I need a bigger cup of coffee. I'm rolling with the Wakefield today. This is a pretty big cup of coffee. I mean, this is actually water today because I'm trying to adjust my sleep schedule. So yeah, this is water. This is water today, but it's the Wakefield. So this is a big one. All right. So let's see. So next up, we got Dr. Pomley. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Hey, since Brian T. Johnson's in here, I'm going to show you guys this real quick too.
Check, 1, 2.
I'm B to the G, it's easy to see what you need, it's attention from me. I'll give you the shout, get back on the grind and you'll be down for the count, trying to breathe. Your favorite is me, now you hate with the diss. All of that hair hanging there like a chick, man give me a break. You're standing too close to the camera like Nick. Where is the claim that you say Filmora is hate? Call me a thief for the titles you hate. I taught you to rank, you seem to forget it. I hit it and quit it, and you try to walk in my wake. I'm tossing you weight, giving you shine, giving you top by doing this with my time. And what I'm about, Ryan, you guy, you come from my console but now you're denied. You wanna throw shade. It's too late, I already got it made. You wanna bring hate. Hit the road, hater, cause I'm not phased.
If you're messing with G, you're messing with me. The name is Nick Nim and I'll bend in a knee. Disturbing the peace, I'll come back into battle and murder a beat. I heard you eat worms like a bird, like a tree. Just like these words of defeat. I think Beanie should draw you and make you a T. They're waiting on me.
But anyway, that's a few years old now. We made that just a little fun thing for Daniel Batal. Him and Brian were having like a fun little thing like back and forth or whatever. So we put that together. As kind of like a response to that one. It was super fun. Absolutely love that. One of the amazing things about Brian D. Johnson is that he's down to do stuff like that, right? Like a lot of people, that's just way outside of their comfort zone, and they're like, sorry, not interested in that, right? But Brian G's like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, like Brian is great when it comes to that kind of stuff, and he's got swagger too. So like when it comes to that, as you can see there in the video, so when it comes to that whole thing, like he not only is he willing to do it, but he can also pull it off, which is great. But Dr. Pomley is our next question here. They upload every other day. They have a medical channel. The goal of the channel is to teach the community and make some cash, some moolah, some money. The question is, why is my channel not doing well despite the uploads? I'm actually going to look and see what it is that you're doing, and then we'll take it from there, Doctor. Oh, you know what? That's not it. I have to do it for a PC, not for a Mac. Oops, no, that's not it. Copy here. Paste here. Chantel, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Nice to see you in here. Okay, so one, just real quick, you really need to work on your thumbnails. Your thumbnails are really like there's just way too much text going on. Your title is there to do the heavy lifting. Your thumbnail is there to grab attention. Because of that, you need to make sure that your titles are simple and that they're easy to read. You're not trying to write like a paragraph in your titles. Instead, you are trying to make it just super attention grabbing and grab the attention of the target people that you are trying to reach with your content. Number two is that YouTube actually put out information it's been probably 2 years ago now, but I'm going to share it with you anyway because I'm looking at it, and you have like one here that isn't this way, or a couple here that aren't this way, but the ones that are really stand out because of this. So YouTube, through their testing, they found that when you write titles in all caps, that people just don't respond to them as much across the platform. Now, there's going to be, instances where they do, but just across the platform in general, people don't respond to titles in all caps. I think that it's just a readability thing, but yeah, they say that that people don't respond as well to all caps there. Another thing as well is when you actually go into the video content itself, I would also just take some, take some time to watch some videos on video production. Like you have all kinds of stuff like popping up on the screen and, things like that, which is okay. But I would definitely take the time to just learn about video production, making sure that you're, at least kind of centered, in the frame a little bit when people go in there. When it comes to vertical content, people are a little bit more flexible with this. Technically, they're more flexible anyway these days with this kind of thing. But I would just try to, like, the whole reason that there's rules about, when you're making videos in terms of where you're supposed to be in the frame and things like that. The reason for that is because psychologically we respond to certain things in certain ways. And over time, they found that if you're like centered or you're off to like 1/3 as an example, then in that particular case, it's just a more comfortable feeling for people when they're watching the videos. So I would do that as well. But other things are going to come down to, the information that you're sharing, how you're sharing that information, how connectable you are to the viewers themselves. But the very first thing I would work on right now, because you have some subscribers on the channel, they're just not responding that well to what it is that you're doing right now. So because of that, I would focus really hard right now on step 1, which is better thumbnails and titles. Start with those. And then once you get people clicking more, like start paying attention now, right? Tracking it in your analytics, how people are clicking, and then start working on your titles until you start seeing that increase. Keep in mind, the topic is also going to be a big deal. So I see one video right here that you published 2 days ago, and it is on like a particular medication and then the dosage of that medication. And the problem with things like that is that when you are, let me do this. Let me make sure it's still hooked up. It is. Okay. So when you are making videos for YouTube, one of the problems that you can run into, and let's see if I can pull this off here. So one of the problems that you can run into is that, there we go. If you make a video about something that has just a low amount of interest in it, right out of the gate, then you're kind of handicapping yourself at the jump. And this applies to all of us, right? So if you are making something about medication, right? We're just going to do a scale here, and we're just going to say 10 is at the top and 1 is at the bottom. And then we can multiply this out in terms of, we can say that 10 means 1,000,000 and the 1 means like 0, right? But the idea is, let's say that you are making a video where you just have this name of a medicine in here. Well, the problem for that is there's going to be a small amount of people that know about that medicine, right? Just a real small group of people that know that medicine by name with the milligrams, right? However, it looks like in your title, it says that it balances hormones, and it says that every woman must know, right, about this medicine. So instead, do the entire package around, like the thumbnail and the title itself. Build the whole package without writing an entire paragraph in your thumbnail around, this medicine will help you, or this vitamin or whatever it is, will help you balance your hormones quickly, right? In that particular case, now you don't have to know the name of the medicine. You just have to be somebody that's interested in balancing your hormones or wanting to know how you might need to do that when you come to that point in time. And then right there, it's going to instantly, just by that slight reframing, it's going to instantly be of interest to more people, right? Just because you're framing it a little bit differently. So because of that, you just want to make sure that every time you're writing a title, that you are thinking, okay, what does somebody need to know here in order to qualify for this to even be of any interest to them? Am I making this hard on myself, right? So for example, locations in a lot of cases can be a handicap. So like, for example, if you are a food channel and you are doing reviews, it's that food channel, and you are giving like very specific locations, then in that particular case, you might be operating down here, where if you where you do the review around the food itself, then it becomes something of interest to a lot more people, right? So because of that, you want to make sure that you're just thinking of ways to expand the potential reach of the videos as well. Like, you really need to work on the packaging in terms of the thumbnail and title. Like, you need to spend some time there. But this concept, for everybody that's here, you want to try to get your packaging as relevant to as many people that are interested in your niche as you possibly can, so that when you publish, you just have a higher, just based on math, you have a higher amount of people that are likely to be interested in what it is that you're doing. Okay. An example that I like to give for this, if you've been in here a lot, you've heard me go through this particular exercise. But like if I was doing a review of this mouse, right? And I'll change colors here for the mouse. We're going to go red for the mouse. So if I was doing a review for this mouse, in that particular case, I could package it up around, Logitech MX Master 3 review, right? Well, let's pretend this mouse is new, right? Because a lot of people probably know about this now. But even if they don't, right? Or I mean, even because it's not new, there's still tons of people that don't know about this. But if the whole review was about, this Logitech MX Master mouse, then in that particular case, the qualifiers for this, I'm just going to put a Q here, would be that they would have to know what Logitech is in the first place, right? They would have to know, they would have to care, about the mouse itself, and they would have to have some insight that it's a MX Master 3. Right? So because of that, the amount of people that are going to qualify for that to even be of interest is like way down here, right? In the video that I have coming out, I actually called this mouse I think it's like the Niman 2000 or the Niman Mouse 3000 or something like that. But anyway, the interest is way down here. However, if you take the same exact video and before you decide to make the video, you're like, okay, how can I make this get the most reach as humanly possible? Then in that particular case, instead of making it about the MX Master 3, which, people have to know a bunch of stuff in order for that to be relevant to them, instead, you make it about how it helped you with your productivity, right? So instead of that, we are using this mouse to be productive. Instantly, you're going to tap into a lot of people because there's no real barrier here. They don't have to know anything. All they have to do is be interested in increasing their productivity in some way. If I was making a video about this mouse, then in that particular case for you guys, if I made it about the Logitech MX Master 3, then in that particular case, again, small percentage of people would care. If I said this mouse shaved 4 hours off of my editing time, all of a sudden, whoop, a lot of people. Maybe not 10. We'll put it around, like 6. But, a lot more people are going to be like, whoa, I could definitely save some time editing. Let me at least click and watch this video to see how this mouse is going to help me out, right? To see if this is like hot air or to see if this is something that's actually going to help me out. So the idea here is that you want to have as few qualifiers as humanly possible for somebody to actually come into your video and enjoy it. And you want to try, when possible, right? Sometimes there are places where you do want to go nuanced, and I'll talk about those real quick too, just to make sure that you have the information that you need. But the idea is that you want to try to remove as many qualifiers as possible within your niche, right? You still want to make sure that you are within your niche unless you are making broad audience content. But the idea is that you want to try to make it as broad within your niche as you can. Now, the place where being super specific is helpful is if you are doing search-based content, if you're a tech channel to where people are just watching your videos anyway because you're a popular tech channel or something like that, and they just know you're sharing good stuff and they're just going to come and watch anyway. Situations like that, it's a little bit more okay. But in that case with the tech channel, you would still open it up more if you gave it a purpose instead of it being the name of the actual thing. But when it comes to search is a really good place to be very specific. And that's where you also modify the actual video itself as well, to where when you're deciding on what it is that you're going to do, what it is that you're going to publish, then you're like, okay, I want to make a video about this, about this mouse. So where is it that I'm actually going to try to get traffic for this video about this mouse? If I'm trying to get it from search, then I can be very specific because people are going to be going to the YouTube search bar and typing in very specific things in order to get information about this mouse. So I need to make a video that will show up in those search results and it will deliver on the questions that people are asking or the information that people are wanting to know about that mouse, right? Whereas if I'm trying to bring attention to it, in that case, that's where I need to make sure that I am trying to make it as broad as possible. If if you're doing new products or things like in your case, right, for the doctor, where the things that you're talking about might not be just widely known or widely known enough. Instead of talking about the medicine, talk about the problem that the medicine solves, and then within that video, mention what it is and how it can help people and things like that. Next up on the list here Let's see here. So I'm just kind of looking through the chat real quick. Scully, what's going on, dude? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Thank you for the support over 62 months, dude. Super appreciate it. Tangoin in the kitchen says, curious question. I noticed that some of my old videos are getting more views, but my watch time is decreasing. So what happens there is you're getting a lot more impressions on that video and you're getting a lot more people that are interacting with that content. What you're experiencing right now is normal. So this is going to happen to, it usually happens. There are cases where it doesn't, but this often happens or usually happens to thumbnails and audience retention on videos. So when you first publish a video, if you got 2 people interacting with it and they both loved it, then all your metrics are going to be high, right? It's going to be like, wow, this video is great. Wow, this is amazing, right? But then you have, 300,000 people, or we'll just say 10,000 people interact with that video. Now you've got all these different opinions, all these different, distractions that people are having, all these different tastes about the video itself, all these things. And because of that, it ends up, kind of messing things up in terms of your click-through rate and your retention. Then, as you start getting more and more and more views, then typically, kind of drive some of those things down. Like most of my videos that have, millions of views on them, most of those, like the click-through rate on those is pretty bad. And the retention on some of them is okay, but it's way low compared to, what it was, when I initially published the video. And it's like that. You see that. It doesn't matter, the type of channel, the genre, like that's just kind of, how it is across the board. But like I said, there are some cases to where, it just gets nailed on the recommendation side and everything just aligns well. And just because of the nature of the content and, how good the creator is and putting it all together, things like that, they're still able to maintain those super high metrics. And that's where those videos end up just going to the moon, so to speak, when they are able to, handle those types of things well. Oh, Sicilian Life. Nice. Nice. Love it. Yeah. Glad that you're enjoying it too. Yeah, Drew says it's the best mouse too. It is, and that was in no way like a promo for them or anything. Like I have no relationship to Logitech, but I do have a handful of these. See here, Chatty Kathy, what's going on? Hope you're doing great. Thanks for super chat. Says, is it still true after you're in YouTube partner program that you still need to maintain the 4,000 hours each year? Yes. Yeah, and in terms of explaining it. Basically, how the whole thing works is just imagine that you have a just kind of like a, you have 365 days. So let's just say my finger here is 365 days. In that particular case, as the time's going by from, let's say when you started the YouTube channel, we're just going to use that as a reference. We'll just say if you started the channel this year, right? Then in that particular case, you had no data before that. And then you started getting watch time on day 1. Well, right as you start crossing this line here, right, for the 1 year, as soon as you start crossing this line, then all of the watch time that you got before this line starts falling off. So as it starts going, it starts not counting towards that 4,000 hours. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're refilling it with another 4,000 hours or more so that you can stay in the YouTube partner program. That line out and that finger analogy was kind of fun. All right. Mooney, what's going on, dude? Hope you're doing great. Nice to see you in here. Chantel, dropping the call to action there on hydrating. Love it. The Corrupt YT files, they upload 1 time per week or more. They've been making videos for less than 6 months. The question, let's see here, mobile, no. Okay, so the goal of the channel is for entertainment purposes. The question is, tell me about my topic ideas and thumbnail to reach more audience. So I'm not looking at channels today. Like as you notice that doctor, like I didn't pull them up in terms of like showing them, to everybody. But when it comes to, giving like direct channel feedback, I usually don't do that per request. I usually do it when somebody's trying to solve a problem. And then it's just, it makes sense to, pull the channel up and show it to everybody. We are going to be doing channel review streams on the Tube Spanner channel in 2025 again. So make sure that you are subscribed over there. That's where you can get more of that like hands-on look at my channel, give me tips specific to my YouTube channel. So Yahweh's Princess, they upload 1 time per week or more, been on YouTube for less than 6 months. The type of channel is a faith podcast, currently working on it and editing. The goal of the channel is to give value by helping people navigate their 20s. And the question is dubbing only available for creator accounts? And how do I get the creator account? My creator account. Yeah. So the dubbing feature is available, to my understanding, for anybody with a YouTube channel, as long as you're in the right countries for it. I'm not sure off the top of my head what that country list is, but they are, rolling that out to everybody, as long as you, have your channel verified, all of those types of things. And by verified, I mean that, you have that very base. I started my channel, went through the verification process, either through, the video thing or uploading IDs, or through my channel history. As long as you're verified in that way, then in that particular thing, you should have it. So you might have like a brand account or something. That might be why you are thinking about that. But it should be available for brand accounts. I haven't heard anything that it's not available for brand accounts, but it is possible that it's not available for brand accounts, but I'm not sure why they would, do that sort of thing. So you should be good, as long as you're in a qualifying country and your account is verified. So Gregor Brown is the next channel here. They have been making videos for a year or more. It's travel content. The goal of the channel is growing myself and making money. And the question is, hey, Nick, thanks for all that you do, watching from Kokud. Oh, nice. Is there any sort of way to approach ABC thumbnail testing? When's the best time to start doing the testing? Right when the video goes public? And congrats on the marriage. Thank you. So when it comes to the ABC thumbnail testing, one thing that's really important to understand or to know, I'm going to get out my thing for this too, because I don't get a chance to really do this over there. So I'm going to utilize this when it's appropriate, because I think this might help. But when it comes to the, let's see here, turn that off, hit this, and I think we're good. Okay. So when it comes to the thumbnail testing, one of the things that is important to think about is, like, let's say that let's see if I can find a mark here on where this, okay, so we can go like right here. Okay, so let's say that you publish your video right here, right? So I'm just going to do a square here and say this is your video. So this is your publish day. So when you have the very first day that you publish your video, or, the very first, just right when your video goes live, then YouTube is going to start showing that video to the people that are, if we did a scale again, 1 is just a little bit engaged and 10 is like, super engaged. The people that are likely to see this video are people that are, 1, super engaged, 2, they're also really into this particular topic, or YouTube has made another match to where they've deemed this as this person is a perfect fit for this particular video. Those are the first people that are going to see your content. Now, as we go through time, right? So let's say you publish it on a Monday. So now we got like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So as we start going through this, what's going to happen is YouTube's going to say, hey, these people enjoyed it. Now let's start showing it to some 9s and see how they enjoy it. That might happen later on Monday, or it might happen, on Tuesday, it might happen on Wednesday, whatever. But as you start going through time, as long as people keep responding to it, then YouTube's gonna be like, hey, let's try to show it to some 8s and some 7s, see how they respond to it. So the idea I'm trying to express is that over time, the people that are seeing your videos are going to end up being, they're still going to be qualified and all of that, but they might not be that laser focused fit. Okay. And the reason I wanted to give you that context is because if you do an A/B test here, and I'm just going to call it A/B test instead of ABC, just for the sake of the conversation. But let's say you do the A/B test when you first publish the video. Well, technically, you're really only testing against a bunch of 10s, right? Maybe we get some 9s in there, right? Maybe some 8s. But then let's say you make like a definitive decision here and you're like, cool, rolling with this one. Well, it's also important to consider at least an A/B test, possibly an ABC test, if you're like doing everything you can to try to grow your channel. Then in that particular case, down here, where it might be getting shown to maybe some 5s or some 7s, then in that particular case, running another A/B test here to say, okay, now that we're getting into, some people that are not as qualified or not as of a perfect fit, then let me, do some experimentation here and see if I can, see if the thumbnail that I'm putting out here is a good fit for this audience. And then as you keep progressing through time, and again, this is for those of you that are like, okay, I'm doing everything that I can possibly do. Like I'm all in, I'm doing it, right? Then in that particular case, if we were to convert this, instead of having it, days, let's say we have this as weeks, then in that particular case, you can start saying, okay, I'm going to test it on day 1 for that group. I'm going to test it on day 7 for that group. I'm going to test it on, let's say, day 28 for that group, because by the time we get to here, we should start, we should be in some pretty general audiences by that point. So because of that, I need to make sure that I'm also testing here if I'm doing everything that I can possibly do, to grow my channel. And then when you're doing that, this is a lot of work, right? Especially if you've been publishing video here, video here, video here, video here, then you're basically trailing this for all of these, right? But the idea is that you actually can test it in front of the different, types of viewers, essentially, so that you can make sure that the thumbnails that you're making are effective for those people. And the way that you do it is you say, let's switch to green for this one. And I hope this is big enough and kind of makes sense here, just so it's not super messy. Let me take this off. But what was I going to say? Yeah, I can't remember where I was going next with that. But basically, the whole idea is just making sure that you are, kind of testing, testing as you go along, so that you can figure out, how people are responding along the way. Oh, I was going to show you how to actually do it. Okay, so the winner here would be involved in the test here. The winner here would be involved in the test here. And if you also want to add this one as well to there, then you can do that too. So then basically you'd start testing winners, like as you go down the line. And then once you get down here, then you should be good. You should be good to go and have enough information based on the winners that you've pulled from these. And again, most people aren't going to be doing that. But if you are just like, okay, I'm trying to do everything I can to increase my click-through rate, keep the momentum going in these videos and like all of that stuff, then in that particular case, those are the types of things that you need to be doing. So, from time to time, if you're, here on a regular basis, you hear me talking about making sure that, if you really want it and you're really wanting to turn this into something serious. I know a lot of people are hobbyists and they do it, part-time, and they plan to always do it that way. And that's perfectly fine. But if you are one of the creators that are like, okay, I am trying to do everything that I possibly can, and I'm willing to put in that work in order to make sure that I'm doing everything that I possibly can to get the best results out of this and to get the best understanding in terms of what people respond to when it comes to my content. Then in that particular case, that's where you're one of those people that, at least for a period of time, if not forever, based on, you and how ambitious you are, but at least for a period of time, you're going to be making a bunch of thumbnails and things like that for the sake of, testing and getting that information. Let's see here. So next up on the list, Stanley Orchard. What's up, dude? Hope that you are doing great. Nice to see you. Shark Scrapper, what is up? Says, awesome discussion. This is a gold nugget for today. I get one every week from you. Thanks, man. Glad that you are enjoying it. Glad that I got it out of the way early, right? All right. So the next one we have here is from Javi Zami. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They have a travel channel. The goal of the channel is to help people to find the best places in my country. And the question is, I have a food review channel in Cuba. I just reached 74,000 subscribers. Congratulations. Says, I've always made my videos in a narration style of how everything happened based on the blurb that I recorded. That makes the editing look good, but my voice doesn't sound authentic when I'm redoing the script and the audience notices it. I'd like to make the videos more in the form of a debate where I speak more naturally about my impressions, but I'm afraid that the editing won't turn out well afterwards because I don't have the appropriate blurb for each sentence. What do you recommend? One thing that can be really helpful is, and I found this to be helpful and others have as well, is running off of bullet points. And then for anything that's detailed, having an actual blurb for that, right? So if you have something that needs to, hold on really quick. If you have something that needs to, yeah, I forgot what I was saying there as well. So let's see here. Don't have appropriate involved in these sentences. Oh yeah. So for the bullet points. So basically what you do is just have bullet points that you write down and then you communicate. So the bullet point is the actual, idea of what it is that you're going to say. And then you communicate based on that bullet point. And then when you do that, then you're going to be communicating in your natural way, but you're going to have a lead on what it is that you're going to talk about. And you can do this in chunks to where you have, okay, this is the topic that I'm going to talk about. And then I have this bullet point, this bullet point, and this bullet point. So then that way, as you're communicating it, you can just be glancing at the bullet points to make sure that you're, that you're staying on track. That way you can still communicate in a more natural way. And you can also be more, you can be organized and still be able to do it in a way to where you're, making everything nice and tight, so to speak, when it comes to the experience that the viewers having. Next up on our list here, we've got Channel name is haven't decided yet. Great channel name, by the way. No, I'm just kidding. They haven't started their channel yet. So first off, welcome to the creator side of YouTube. So they do web comics. The goal of the channel is to have fun and write some stories. And the question is, I have an idea that I'd like to translate to a web comic, since making a whole anime show alone would take years. Is there any demand for web comics on YouTube? If so, how should I approach launching the channel? Yeah, so when it comes to that, that's going to be something that you're going to have to research. I haven't researched web comics specifically, so because of that, I'm not sure if there's a market for it or not. If you're into it, there's a good chance other people are. That's one of the great things about YouTube, is you can start making some stuff and see if you get a response. But one thing that I would definitely keep in mind is, if you are doing web comics, then some type of animation, would definitely be, kind of helpful for that, to kind of tell that story. It doesn't have to be anything, super fancy. There are humongous channels that just do stick figure animations. So you can take an approach like that. But when it comes to, if you're just doing like web comics to where it kind of looks like a comic book, type of thing, then in that case, just kind of explaining the story while you're showing the, individual slides might be the thing. But also, while you're doing that, maybe building in some additional actual scenes for the webcomic, just for the sake of, like, a little reaction and, things like that, to where even though you're not animating it, you could have it to where, the character kind of, looks at something and then they're surprised or whatever the thing is. And then in your video editing software, you just like zoom in on that particular moment or something like that. So in that case, you might have a little bit of emotion. Like, I would try that. I don't know if it's going to work, but I would try something like that. But the idea is, you definitely want to try to make it, interesting to watch in some way. But since it is a webcomic, people that are into webcomics, they might, get into that. But I would definitely hop on YouTube, look for webcomics, see if there's any big channels already for it. If not, you might be able to fill that spot. If there are, then in that case, see what it is that they're doing, see how they're putting everything together, and see if you can get any inspiration from that. Try not to copy everything it is that they're doing, but you can absolutely take some inspiration, but then just try to morph everything into your version and the way that you do things and the way that you want to present, your web comics to the world. Try to morph it into that based on the inspiration that you do get from others, as you're getting started. Next up on the list, we've got a new boy. They do a short animation 3D channel. Nice. Says they want to teach 3D for everyone and earn money. And the question is, I make 3D modeling. Can you give me some guide to start my YouTube channel? Absolutely. So one of the best ways to get started with what it is that you're doing is to make 3D models. Like, if you're teaching people stuff, you want to think about two different approaches right now. If you're just getting started with this, let me see if you have any content on the channel yet. Because if you're in motion already, I'm going to give you different advice than if you're not in motion yet. Hold on. Okay, you've already got some videos published, so you're in motion. So you got 33 videos. Yeah, so you're moving already. Okay, so what I would do in your particular case, if you're teaching people 3D animation, is I would have two different approaches. One would be a search-based approach. And for the search-based approach, I would simply go to the YouTube search bar and I would type in 3D animation and then hit the space bar and see what people are looking for in terms of learning 3D animation. 3D animation tutorial, space bar, see what people are looking for around that, right? I would do that to start. TubeBuddy can also help you with this with their Keyword Explorer. And then that way, it's going to give you the option to have some of your videos show up in search to where you can teach people there. Then I would have a recommendation arm that you're going after. And then that recommendation arm would be where I'm doing 3D models on popular things or popular people and things like that happen. So if somebody is trying to learn how to, do a, 3D animation, then if you can put together, like a celebrity, for example, and you show people how to make a 3D, model of that celebrity, that could be helpful. If it's something like, like we know the situation that just happened with the pharmacy guy, the pharmaceutical guy. So in that case, and this is going to sound completely nuts, but this is one of those things about standing out, right? So because that was so at the top of so many people's minds, and people are thinking about that and they're watching videos on it, things like that. One of the things that you could have done there is you could have made a 3D model of the actual area. So you could have used like the security footage they had. You could have, used Google Maps to get an idea of that area. And you could have showed people like how to, like teach people how to 3D model that particular area. So the title would be something like, I made a 3D model of whatever that person's name is. I made a 3D model of that particular incident or whatever. And then some of those people that, would click on that video would be interested in, learning, how to do that sort of thing. But that sort of approach is a great way to bring attention to what it is that you are, what it is that you're doing. But one thing you just got to be careful with there is there probably would be a lot of people that would respond to that wouldn't be a perfect fit. So the trends that you do choose to ride on or attempt to, bring attention to yourself with, I would try to, make those something to where it's like, okay, if a 3D animator sees this thumbnail, then in that particular case, they're really going to dig this. But if just a casual viewer sees this, that might be, more interested in that topic, then in that particular case, maybe they probably wouldn't click on it, but they might, not really sure. I would package it that way instead of, trying to just get, the general public in there. Next up, we've got Fish Camp TV, does bi-weekly content, been on YouTube for 1 year or more, does fishing education. The goal of the channel is to build my brand and get monetized. Ooh, this is a long one. So the question is, question I had keeps getting missed. If the algorithm has learned wrong information, how do we sort of make it forget who our audience is and start fresh? I've accumulated some East Asian viewers who end up messing up my metrics and making it impossible to target suggested videos because they never engage with my content, only watch. I've learned to put a local location, and that has helped a lot, but the healing process is very slow. I'm only getting 1.5% suggested video traffic, whereas competitors like Fish and Magician 2.0 is probably getting better than 50% from suggested. YouTube hasn't suggested me in over a year. Last stream, you're advising the best practices, and that's great. But how to make YouTube forget your audience if you're trying to reset? Will promoting a specific zip code fix this? I want local viewers only, not Vietnam or Thailand. I'm thinking that I need to delete the channel and start over. You don't need to delete the channel and start over. What you need to do is make sure that, and I'm sure you already don't have any like captions or anything that's automatically happening to your videos that are, making it accessible for them. However, it is important to know that YouTube is a global platform, and because of that, you do have global reach. And when, certain people interact with your content, as long as they continue to interact, let me do it this way. So on YouTube, everything is based on viewer satisfaction. So if you're making content, like, how David Hasselhoff is just like a superstar in Germany. I mean, we know who he is in America too, but he's like a whole other level of superstar in America. You may or may not know that. He's the guy that did like Baywatch and Knight Rider and all that. So in that particular case, those people responded really well to him, while, Americans and, the Western world, they also, responded well, also, but they like really responded to him well over there. So he was able to, win all the way around. So with YouTube, when we publish our YouTube videos, we can't necessarily put the brakes on and say, hey, I do not want people, from these regions watching my videos. When you put your, when you try to localize the video, in that particular case, that can be advantageous if you have like a local business and, or if you're talking about tourist attractions, things like that. But when it comes to that localization, YouTube can still recommend your content globally. That localization isn't just for locking it down. Like, it doesn't limit, so to speak. If people respond well to the content, YouTube's still going to show that content to the people that are responding well to it. So because of that, one thing, and this is going to be a little bit of extra work, but one of the things that you need to do is you need to, oh, that's clever, Fish Camp TV. That's super clever. That's really out of the box. I wouldn't do that, but yeah, that's really out of the box. But I mean, you're kind of working against yourself massively, in that particular situation. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it could. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That could do it. Yeah, when it comes to that, though, I would just do some research on the fishing content that they are really getting into and try to not make that particular fishing content. So, like on your channel, if you're like, hey, every time we talk about this, we have a big influx, and you can see it, in your analytics as you're already looking at. One of the things that you do is you're like, okay, I am, showing people how to, set a lure or whatever the thing is. Then in that particular case, if you find like every time I make one of these videos, it just brings this huge influx of, non-Western people, then in that case, make sure that, you try to make videos about something else. on your channel historically, you might know videos that are, that are pulling in a more local audience. If you have that friend that is a content creator as well, I would reach out to them and say, hey, which videos of yours are bringing in a more US audience, and try to do that. And then the big one, and I can kind of save this one for the end, just to make sure you're still, listening. The big one is I would go and I would start doing a lot of collaborations with a lot of US fishing channels. So basically, if you have with your account, if you have any other buddies that have US, accounts where they have a larger amount of US viewers, then in that particular case, start doing some collaborations with them, appearing in their videos, things like that. It doesn't have to be a two-way collaboration, but try to add some type of value to them to where you can get on their channels if possible. And then by doing that, then some of their viewers are going to come over, and as you start going through the ranks, so to speak, and all the fishing channels, then in that particular case, they'll be seeding you with some hopefully, some of the audience that you're trying to reach. But again, the big elephant in the room, though, is that when it comes to, right here, we got Hella Base says, I'm a US fishing channel. We can talk a collaboration. So, you have that right there. But the idea is that, remember that YouTube is a global thing. So because of that, moving away from that. So I had a similar situation where if you look at my YouTube channel, I used to make content that was, like app related. And I'm going to go back to doing some of that here in 2025, just because you got to know about it. Plus I'm making apps now. So because of that, it makes sense. But the app content and free tools for me brings in a certain type of viewer, and it really starting to eat into, it doesn't eat into it, but it starts taking up, a large percentage of my viewership. And that particular, audience is still getting value out of it, which is cool. However, that's not, what I just want to make all the time. So because of that, I'm like, okay, let me, make more, content that, more, the Western world responds to a little bit better. And then for me, that was doing like less stuff about the free this, free that, all of that. And it's also doing like less like app related tutorials and less free live streaming tool tutorials. And then by doing that, what ended up happening is that transition happened on my channel as well, to where, now I'm, back to primarily US again. So, and that particular thing was just going in and looking and saying, okay, what are they responding to, and what are they not responding to, and making more of the content that, wasn't getting that response from that region. So let's see here. So next up on the list, we got Rumoy. Yeah, Stanley Orchard. He's a fishing channel too. They do gaming content. The goal is to get monetized. Let me make sure. I might have skipped one here. Hold on. Nope, Fish Camp. That was the last one. Yeah, so Rumoy. Okay. And really quick, I want to mention something really quick about the thing that you mentioned about using music that is blocked in those countries, so that you can kind of put the limits there. Keep in mind that's only going to work for those particular videos. So, in order to do that, you're going to have to do that over a long period of time. And, that might be something you want to do. But that particular approach is going to have you publishing tons of content that is kind of, locked down regionally. And, like, even though the people that are currently interacting with your content might not be the ideal fit for it in terms of what you're wanting, as long as it's more heavily weighted on the side of that you do have, the largest percentage is the people that you are wanting, then in that case, you still can, deliver, the value to those people and, things like that. Let's see here. Practition her. I'm not teaching about app making. I'm actually learning. So I'm not teaching about app making. I'm just learning how to do it. And I've already made one. It's in the Apple Store. I'm gonna link to it down in the description. And then I've got another one that I think people are gonna love. It's for new creators, but even experienced creators can use it. I've talked about it on the live stream before. But the new one that I'm working on, it's got some really cool stuff in it. So, for example, I'll just show you here real quick. It's like, this is what the homepage of it looks like. Let's see if I can get that in there. Right. So this up here is going to help you stay up to date with like what's happening on YouTube, YouTube news, things like that. This down here is a content calendar. Hold on. There we go. This down here pulls from the content calendar that's in the app, so you can kind of plan your content, know it's coming. This has a widget that shows up on the home screen. If you are somebody that's trying to get monetized, this one down here by my pinky, this is your progress towards the YouTube partner program, so that you can, track that and you have that. It's also got like little quick tips, down here in the bottom as well. And then there's also at the very bottom, you'll see like a resources kind of grid there. And that has like, a glossary in it to, like, when I say things here in the live stream, sometimes I have people are like, hey, what does that even mean? So I put all those words, into that to help people there. Other fun things is like once you connect your YouTube channel to it, it makes a QR code for your channel as well, so that you can, save that to your phone and share it. Or if you're, giving somebody a link to your channel or whatever, you can just have them scan it from your phone and you'll be able to hit that from your homepage widget as well if you wanted to. So if you're going to conferences or some type of meetup around your, industry, like for example, with Fish Camp. So like if he went to, like a fishing thing, then in that particular case, he could just have that on his home screen, and then he could just open it up when people are like, oh, you have a YouTube channel? What is it? He just hits it on his home screen. It'll open up the QR code and he can just show it to him right there. So it has all kinds of, like little helpful, things like that. And it also has like a sharing feature. So you can share, content that you're inspired by. And you can, share it in there and keep that, and it's all organized and everything. Upload checklists, script checklists, all kinds of, stuff like that that people need. Let's see here. Thanks for the heads up there, Doug. Going in now. See what we got. Okay. So let's see here. Chatty Cathy, thank you for the super chat. Says congrats this Friday. Hope you and your loved ones enjoy yourself. Will you be off next Saturday? If so, Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you. Yes. So this is actually I think we might end up kind of popping in maybe, but it's really likely that this is going to be the last stream of this year on the channel. So if you are heading out, by the way, Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you as well, and your family also. But thank you also for the congratulations. So just, in case you don't know, I'm getting married this coming week. So getting married, have family, coming into town, that kind of stuff. And really looking forward to it. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a great time. And so here, how do I go about getting a regular sponsor for my weekly live stream, says Chantel. You could have just sent me a Facebook message for that, but start reaching out to people if you're not doing it yet. So, of course, I haven't looked at your live streaming channel recently anyway, so I'm not sure what type of, activity you're getting over there, but I would definitely make sure that you are getting, some activity so that you can, reach out. The very first thing to see what type of value you're going to be able to give to a brand is start bringing attention to things as an affiliate first. And then as you're bringing attention to things as an affiliate, you're going to see, hey, can I sell stuff or not? And if you can, then in that particular case, then you'll actually have data on your side from your affiliate sales that you can show to potential sponsors. So for example, let's say that you are going to send, via sponsorship, you're going to send to Opus Clip. Then in that particular case, once you start getting some sales over there, then you would say, okay, well, through these particular live streams, I was able to send, these particular sales. And then you'd be able to use that as part of your, your pitch or your media kit when you are, reaching out to sponsors. In addition to that, another thing is to, just come in at, whatever price that you think is reasonable for what it is that you're trying to do. For some people, they'll be like, hey, yeah, we can do that all day long. No problem at all. We're happy to support what it is that you're doing because that extra brand awareness is going to be helpful for us and it's going to be worth whatever that, whatever that spend is. But yeah, getting on the one, trying to, sell some stuff via an affiliate, and then two, reaching out, right? Just putting together a list. And on that list, you want to put all of the companies that you would like to work with, and then start, crafting an email for them, make the emails tight and concise because nobody, wants to sit there and read a bunch of stuff. So because of that, just try to say, hey, I have this live stream. I use your products and I always recommend your products anyway. And, I'd like to, try to find a way to work together if that's something that you're interested in, because I see that you also work with other creators. Just wanted to let you know that I'm out here. If you'd like to hop on a call, I can put together some packages and, I can present those to you on the call. So that's the approach that you want to take. Zone in Sports, super chat says, what are your thoughts on growing a sports channel? I think sports channels are fine, but the thing that you got to be careful of is you have to make sure that you are, thank you for the congratulations messages. I appreciate it. When it comes to the sports channel, you want to just make sure that you're not, just stealing content and then just uploading it. You need to make sure that you are adding commentary and that it is transformative enough that you are able to, claim fair use with it, or that you would be able to defend it as fair use. And you need to make sure that you are willing to go to court and defend, the content that you're uploading as fair use content. And if you are not, then in that particular case, I would not, do that. Now, that's if you are doing sports based on like, hey, I'm going to cover this, game, or we're going to talk about what happened in this game or something like that. Now, if you're teaching people sports, then in that particular case, it's a totally different thing. That I go all in on that because that's a great thing to get into. And when it comes to growing a sports channel, there's tons of people teaching people things, but the idea is that when you hop onto YouTube, YouTube's going to recommend certain content to you that might pull you into a particular, niche or genre of content, and you might get really interested in that niche or genre of content. The person that introduced you to that niche may or may not be the person that you stick with. As you are exploring more in that niche, YouTube's going to start recommending more content creators to you that also make similar content, and then you're going to start running into other people. Eventually, you're going to start gravitating to a person or a group of people that you resonate with the most. It works that same exact way when it comes to your own content as well. So when you publish videos to YouTube, via sports content, you're teaching people, about sports. In that particular case, some people are going to, like how you explain things. They're going to, like your personality. They're going to like how you put your videos together, how you structure things. They're going to like the stories that you tell or the way that you don't waste their time or whatever the thing is. They're going to like that. So in terms of the thoughts for growing a sports channel, I would definitely make sure, hold on, let me see something really quick. Zane Sports. This will just be better for both of us if I can just go and look real quick and see what it is that you're doing. Zone in Sports. Okay, so you're talking about other people's sports or other people playing the game. Yeah, so what it is that you're doing, I think, is fine. One thing that is really important to make sure that you're thinking about, and I'm going to share this on the screen here because I think this is a good lesson for everybody here, is, let me go here, add it to the stage. Okay, so just a couple of things here for you really fast. So I hovered over your video and I can see you're sitting on the sofa, sitting here talking about sports, which is perfectly fine. That's totally okay. What you're doing here is really good. So on this particular thumbnail right here, you are trying to bring them in based on the imagery of basketball. Great move. You are taking the right approach here. You're using imagery that they are likely to enjoy, or likely to not enjoy, but that they're likely to identify as something they might be interested in. This photo right here is going to cause some people to read this just because they see this photo. Okay. Here, it's a little bit of a different story. The reason this is a little bit of a different story is because, one, he's pretty small. So since he's small, even though he might be famous, he is kind of hard to make out. And I'm looking on a pretty big monitor here, and he's still, pretty small. If you look at this, everything about it says basketball. I wouldn't even have, if we go here, I wouldn't even have this section here. I would just take that out and I would just say right here, I would just focus the whole thing on like this shot, right? So that when it shows up on somebody's homepage, people that are into basketball, they see the whole scene that they're used to seeing when they're watching basketball anyway, right? So there's that instant, connection. This one here, whatever sport this guy's playing, I don't watch sports, so I'm not sure. But whatever sport this guy is responsible for, I would put that kind of imagery here. So what's happening here is you're trying to use these types of things and this green background, and you've got all this text up here, and I understand from like a design standpoint what you're trying to do and how you're trying to make it look, but the job of the thumbnail is to grab the attention of the people that you're trying to reach. The best way you can do that is by using imagery that they're already proven to respond to, which is in this particular case, basketball content, or whatever this person does here. So I would definitely focus on that. So if he's a coach, which it looks like he is based on his headset, I think that's what he's wearing, then in that particular case, whatever's happening in the background here, I would make it look like he is standing, in the field or on the court or whatever it is that he does there. And just another quick thing, because just because I'm here, you can see how this is being displayed on a computer. So for a mobile device, this is perfectly fine. But keep in mind, tons of people watch YouTube on computers and tons of people watch YouTube on TVs. So because of that, double check this on your TV as well. And I would go through and I would just fill this part out of your channel art, and it'll just make everything look better. It's not going to make your channel grow, but it'll just make everything look better. It'll represent you better. And one more thing is Cooper, one and done, college at Duke and Bill. Okay. Yeah, you're good here. So like you're leveraging their names here in the title, all those things, that's good. So you're making that, you're making that connection in terms of YouTube's system being able to clearly understand that it has something to do with these people, which is good. So yeah, I would definitely start working on, I would change this thumbnail immediately. And I would also adjust this one as well. If you're going to put text on it, it's fine, but I would continue the audience out at least. And then whatever text it is that you are going to put on here, I would put it on top of that, but just make sure that you do it in a way to where the text, can still stand out. So if you have that audience behind there, maybe using like white text and then putting some type of like border on that white text or something like that would be the way to kind of help that stand out. Kind of like what you did up here a little bit, but just make sure that any text is big, bold, and easy to read. You do not want to put like these things on here. The reason for that is if this is, zone in sports. So your zone in sports and host D hump, like like that stuff doesn't matter to most people, right? In the future, you're going to be able to put yourself in here, or people are just going to, be able to recognize it stylistically or something like that. But like polluting your thumbnail with these types of things, I wouldn't do that right now. I would focus all of your effort because right now, you have 10 subscribers. So because of that, I wouldn't even worry about this sort of thing. Instead, I would focus on, okay, how can I make this just super easy for somebody that's interested in these sports to identify that it's about these sports or people that are interested in these people. Another thing is when you are talking about a very specific person, it can also be advantageous. See how he's small in this frame right here? Instead of having him small in the frame, crop him up like this, right? So in that particular case, like make the thumbnail more like, actually, hold on. I kind of broke the rule of thirds there. Making the thumbnail more, I did it too close that time. I think you get the idea, but basically, making it, man, I went up too high that time, but you get the idea. So basically just kind of cropping him like right here. Ooh, I think I got it this time. Oh, there we go. Boom. There we go. So the thumbnail should be more, framed like that so that he is just really big in the thumbnail. So people that do know who this person is, that it's just at a glance, they're not having to figure it out, because when it comes to YouTube's homepage, and this is why all of this is important. If you go to YouTube's homepage, you're just looking at stuff at a glance, right? So this particular case, it's good. All the color, they're talking about philosophy of color, 3 words, right? One of them super short to, kind of pull your attention. That one's super good. But if you look at all of these, the, videos that are, doing well, you have, this person, he's playing the handpan. I watch this guy all the time. Amazing YouTube channel. I'm not sure how you say his name. I don't know if it's Multi, but Multi Martin, if you're into just like chill music, this dude is awesome. But anyway, but you can see here, he understands that he's, one, he's got a big channel, so he's leveraging himself. 2, he understands that the people that see this, that are into that type of music, that instantly they're gonna be like, oh, what's this, right? Even for a new viewer. So you want to make sure that you're doing the same thing with your sports characters. When I was talking about the crop in terms of, how you're going to be cutting the guy, instead of having him small, if you look here at Will Smith and Joyner Lucas, same exact thing here. And shout out to Tom Nash for giving me the heads up on Joyner a long time ago before he got like big. But when it comes to the crop here, you can see how he's cropped to where at a glance, you can tell who these guys are if you know who they are. Same exact thing here with the podcast one here for me, to where it's just super clear that it's me for people that, are into my stuff. And as we just keep kind of going down the thing here, that just gets kind of repeated as we're, kind of going down through the list here. So I would just keep those types of things in mind when it comes to your thumbnail. 2 things you're trying to, or actually one thing really that you're trying to do is help people quickly and easily identify that your content is about something that they might care about in some way. When you do that, you're going to have that person stop for just a moment and consider your content. They're going to, just look at it. They're going to read the title. They're just going to see what's going on with it. But the job there is to grab their attention based around the things that they care about. Renee Ritchie in the house, what's up, dude? Says YouTube homepage gives me tons of OGD streams. Gives you, oh yeah, it does. Yeah, so I shared a screenshot out to X to where like the recommendations were fine. I'm actually going to open it up real quick here, and I'm just going to see if it does it again. But yeah, when I got farther down the page, I'm just going to scroll down here and see what happens. When I got farther down the page, it just gave me a huge grid of D, his member streams. It wasn't even like his actual content, which was hilarious. But I shared that on X for anybody that's interested in seeing that. Super funny. Yeah, I'm not seeing him right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing him right now. All right. So next up on the list here. How did he get to Todd? Right? He's like, hey, buddy, you gotta be showing these to everybody. Oh, love it. Tropic F1, thanks for the super chat. Says my gaming channel just hit 400 subs after 1 year. Congratulations to you for your first 400 subscribers. Here's something I want you to know is if you have 400 people that have subscribed to your YouTube channel and the people that you don't know, you have proof of concept now. Like, after this first year, that what it is that you're doing, people respond to it. Now you just have to find the other people. Right. So as a part of that, make sure that you are paying attention to the videos that have done well, since you've been publishing. Make sure that you're paying attention to the actual content itself to see the parts that people are enjoying, the parts that they're, that are causing them to leave, so that you can make sure that you are leaning into, more of the things that they enjoy, less of the things that they don't. Make sure that you are also, now that you have been on the platform for a year, I actually have a video about optimizing your channel or refreshing your channel for the year. Make sure everybody check that out, because we're around that time of year again. I'll share it in my community feed too, so you'll see it there. But when it comes to things that you should be doing because you have that year's worth of content on your channel, go in and be like, okay, I made the thumbnails. Is there anything that I can kind of update here that, now that I am a year better at this, that I can, go and just kind of refresh anything to maybe help it, be something that people can identify easier or something like that. Maybe I can make the title a little bit more compelling now, those sorts of things. Just go through and look for that. And most importantly though, just try to look for patterns of things that people have responded to, over the last year compared to things that they haven't. Next up, let me make sure I answered this last one here. Let's see here. It was Ramoy. Yeah, I did. Okay. So next up on our list here, we've got Urban American Homestead. They upload every other day. They've been on YouTube for 1 year or more. They have a homestead and livestock channel. And they just share basic stuff day to day. The goal of the channel is they want people to enjoy farm and animals. They can't get out to it themselves. That's cool. The question is, does a 3-minute short count for watch hours like long videos? Can I still make 3-minute videos that is long and does count towards watch hours? So you can still make a 3-minute video that is long, but you just need to make sure that you're making it landscape or 16:9 ratio instead of vertical 9:16 ratio. So that's the difference right there. In terms of the watch time, if somebody watches that 3-minute video from let's say like your homepage or something like that, then in that particular case, you can still get some watch time from that video, but you just don't get it from the short shelf for the vertical. When it comes to the 16:9, if you have a 3-minute video of that, then you'll get all the watch time for that one. So because of that, if you're trying to get the watch hours right now, you might, like, if you have a limited amount of time and you're like, okay, I can only do like one or the other, and you're trying to get into the partner program, you might want to experiment for a little bit on the 16:9 ratio stuff, so that you can just kind of give yourself that over there, instead of, making the shorts where you are not going to get credited that watch time. Because when it comes to getting monetization through that, it's all about the views. I don't know if it's going to change at all. Now they've had it now that it's 3 minutes over there. I'm not sure if they are going to change the requirements there or not. I'm not sure. But as it stands right now, just assume that it's going to be the way that it is. And if you're trying to get into the partner program, I would start making, I would spend that 3 minutes. If it was me, I would spend that 3 minutes on a video that would help contribute to that watch time. Let's see here. So, Chronic Life Success, thank you for the super chat. So I'm not looking at YouTube channels unless I pull them up for context. And I know you just saw me looking at a channel, and that's why you gave me that super chat and you wanted me to pull it up. But the reason that I don't do that is because if I do that with yours, then as soon as I do that and I pull it up based on doing it from a super chat, then what's going to happen is I'm going to have a bunch of super chats, because I used to do this. So these streams are about 3 hours, right? And in the past, we had these streams up to 7 hours long. We actually went over 7 hours once, or maybe twice. But the reason that happened is because people would super chat, and when they super chat, then we would pull their channel up and look at it. So we literally had the last half of the live stream where we were doing channel reviews, and it was cool because a lot of people got a lot of really good advice. But the downside is it just built up a queue to where I had to deliver on that queue, right? In order to kind of fulfill everything. So I apologize for that, but as of right now, I'm only pulling channels up when the context is there. So let's see here. So next, or when it needs context, I should say. So next up on the list here, we've got Xbox Nation Canada. They do information and tutorial content. The goal of the channel is hoping to become monetized again by bringing tutorials, some gameplay, and support for Xbox gamers. The question is, my channel was doing really good around the time Fortnite was introduced. I managed to get over 15,000 subscribers and was making decent money. Then life took a turn and I was unable to make content for a while. I started back a little while ago, but my views don't match my current almost 14,000 sub count. Doing over 10,000 views per month currently, but just wondering if you have any tips that may help bring more views to the channel. Absolutely. If you are just trying to get that machine started again, if you did have people that were still interacting with the channel, I would go into your analytics to see the content that is currently driving the channel. So basically go in and see the videos. And if you go into your YouTube analytics, you just scroll down and you'll be able to see it. Ramoy, I didn't answer your question. Yeah, I'll go back and do that here right after I'm done with this one. So sorry about that. But first step is to go and see what content is bringing people in, and then try to make content that would be a good fit for those people based on what it is that they are watching. Number two is pay really close attention on the content that got you to 15,000 subs. The topic, the thing that you were talking about, Fortnite at that time, it still is popular, but at that time, absolutely super popular. So because of that, you were able to ride that out. So what you need to think about now is, are you still going to be doing Fortnite, or are you going to try to, hop on something else? If you are going to continue doing Fortnite and you're just going to keep the channel as a Fortnite channel, which is perfectly fine, then in that case, I would definitely be talking about all the, updates and things like that as they happen. Like I know yesterday, I think it was yesterday, either yesterday or the day before, there was just an update that happened where there was just some new weapons and things like that. So anytime something like that happens, then I would definitely, just make a video about it so that you can, talk about, the new things that were introduced in that particular update. But basically, I would just do everything you possibly can to stay on the forefront of all of the updates that are coming out, and then make some search-based content right now while you're trying to, get your channel, kind of back on track with some steady traffic coming into it. Make some search-based content. I wouldn't just go all in on search, but I would make some search-based content, just solving, problems in Fortnite that you identify through either looking at the response of other YouTube videos that have done well covering the topic, or using a tool like TubeBuddy, or looking in Google Trends to see the questions that people are asking. If you just go to trends.google.com, then you can start putting some of those into there. And another thing with trends.google.com, and I'm actually going to do this around Fortnite really quick, .google.com. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pull this up here for you. We're just going to do Fortnite. We're going to do worldwide just to make this easy. We are going to do YouTube. And Let's see here. Let's scroll down. We're going to do games. Okay. So one of the cool things about Google Trends, and we're going to see if anything comes up here, but I got it loaded and ready here for us. So one of the cool things about Google Trends is that you do get to kind of get an idea of what's going on, with things that you talk about. So you can see here when it comes to interest over time, this is just over the past day, but like, let's say the past, 90 days, you can see that Fortnite is still on the rise. So if you were making content over Fortnite, it still looks, like it's a good thing. Now, I know that, people are, starting to have holidays and, things like that. So that might cause some of it, or just because of the, massive updates that they've been doing, it could all be because of that. But another thing, just for anybody that is starting a YouTube channel or you're considering pivoting or something like that, another thing that's really helpful is just kind of looking at what it is that you're going to be talking about over time. So you can just look for like peaks and valleys, see if you notice any type of, consistent things that happen seasonally, stuff like that. That'll just give you a lead on, what could happen. If you're a sports channel, this will give you an idea of like when people start looking for sports content, when they stop looking for sports content, or when it, gets a reduction. And that just kind of helps inform you on the right things that you need to do when it comes to, when you need to really ramp things up and when it's okay to pull back a little bit. But when it comes to getting the channel going again, a few things that I would do, the very first, let's do the past 7 days, is I would come down here and I would look and I would see if anything is kind of breaking out. So we got Ballistic Fortnite breaking out right now, or at least over the last 7 days. So I would, dig in more and I'd be like, okay, let's go down to like the past day. Are people still, going into this? Here's some that are coming out like, right now, or, over the past day, to where the Fortnite Out West emote has a 1,550% increase in people looking for it. Fortnite Item Shop, 14th of December, 3,400% increase in people looking for it. Icicle Pickaxe Fortnite is breaking out right now. But basically using this to decide the topics that you're going to make videos about, because these are things, there's two advantages to this for anybody here that can leverage this sort of thing. Is the very first thing is that, one, you're proving that like, hey, these are things that people are, kind of interested in right now when you're doing the breakout stuff and the things that have huge increases like this. The other thing is when you have something that has like a huge spike like this, there's not a large inventory on it. And that becomes extremely important. So what I mean by that when I'm talking about inventory is, let's say that somebody makes a video about the Icicle pickaxe in Fortnite. And then you have people that are looking at this a lot, or they're looking for this on Google, they're looking for it on YouTube. If there's 10 videos on this right now, then in that particular case, that's hardly any competition at all for that video. So because of that, if you had a video on that, then that would give you the advantage there to where you don't have thousands and thousands and thousands of videos on that same exact topic. You have something that you are competing with hardly anybody, right? Or maybe if it has thousands and thousands, maybe now it's down to hundreds of people that you're competing with instead. So you also get that advantage when you do, when you're on top of stuff in that regard. So I would hop into Google Trends. I would check this every single day. I would bookmark this on your computer and I would check this every single day. And I would scroll down here and I would look for things that are breaking out over the past day. I would see if anything's happening like right now. Shop Leaks is breaking out, Crosshair Fortnite, not sure about that. Buying Fortnite account, that wouldn't apply really to what it is that you're doing. So you have to use, some insights here in terms of like, okay, is this something that people are actually watching videos about, right? Those types of things. But yeah, this is a great tool and it's free. This is provided by Google. You can access this as part of your Google account. And this right here is super helpful for just staying on top of things and really getting ahead of trends and being able to compete easily. So, since you are getting back on the horse with your content, hopping on those types of things is good. So I would have some content that you're putting out that is search-based, solving people's problems, just things in the game, like where to find stuff, things like that. And then I would have the other arm or the other, content that you're putting out that is based specifically on those things that are popping right now so that you can take your swing at, trying to get in front of some of those. Fishcamp TV, thanks for super chat.
Super chat.
Difference between hashtag and keyword phrase. So a hashtag is just a hashtag. You put a pound sign in front of it. On YouTube, it's linkable. So, if you click on it, there's a hashtag results page. And, that is something that can bring traffic to you as well. It's usually not a substantial amount of traffic, but it can bring traffic to you. When it comes to a keyword phrase is, let's say, here, I'll just go to like fishing here. I'm just going to say best fishing, and I'm just typing this into YouTube search. So a keyword phrase would be best fishing knot, best fishing spot in Fitch, whatever that is, best fishing kayak. That's a keyword phrase. Best fishing lures for bass, right? That's a keyword phrase. So with a phrase, it's something that people are actively searching for in the YouTube search bar, and your video is about that, and you optimize the video itself for that through the title and description, and of course the video content. When it comes to a hashtag, that is just something that you put in your video description. And that is something that, people can click on to leave your video, or they can click on it from that hashtag results page to actually enter your video. Okay, so let's go back to, take me 1 second here. So I was on 15, I believe. Okay, so Rumoy. Type of channels, gaming, the goal is to get monetized. And the question is, my view dropped a lot since last week. And what my audience is watching is no different than before. And I didn't do something offensive, or they just vanished. Any advice? If it's just been a week, don't even worry about it. So like when you're looking at YouTube, you want to look at YouTube over the course of, looking at it over the course of, the week is good, because you're paying attention. But, being like, okay, because YouTube is, kind of like this, right? In that particular case, I would be like, okay, it's kind of down this week. Let's see kind of what happens next week when I publish my next video, and see if it kind of, brings life to everything, or if it just kind of gets you back on track. So in terms of you messing up or anything like that, no, I don't think you messed up or anything like that. What probably happened is maybe the last videos that you published, they just, had a shorter lifespan of bringing in, higher viewership. And then that's just kind of, tapered off possibly. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about that, but it's good that you noted that so that you can pay attention to it and make sure that, things aren't, going off the rails, so to speak. Let me jump back up here to, I think it was, let me check 14, make sure it wasn't that one. Urban American Homestead. Did I answer this one? 3 minutes shorts. It did. 15. We did Xbox Nation. I think that was just the gaming one. It was. So now we're on 16. Okay, here we go. So now we have Mindset Start Here is the name of the channel. They have been on YouTube for 1 year or more. Let me kind of change this up here a little bit. There we go. They've been on YouTube for 1 year or more. The type of channel is Tamil Motivation. The goal of the channel is mindset transformation, overcoming negativity, thoughts, and positive thinking. Love that. We need a lot more of that in the world. The question is, what strategies can I implement to get more views on my YouTube videos and boost engagement? So the very first thing is you got to make sure that the content's good. So the way that you do that is by going into your audience retention reports and making sure that people are responding well to the content itself. And the way that you do that is by looking at your audience retention reports and seeing like, okay, when the videos first start, is everybody leaving? Or do I capture a nice amount of people relatively quickly, and then I have a decent amount of people completing the video? Step number 2 is while you're in your audience retention reports, the next thing you want to do is you want to go to the drop down in your audience retention reports, and you want to compare to other videos. What that's going to do is that's going to show you how competitive your videos are against other videos of similar length on YouTube. The reason you want to do that one is because if you find that you're way below average, or that it's just below average, then the first thing that you need to do before anything else is work on making the content better. And you do that through just sitting back and looking at what it is that you're doing, matching that against how people responded in your audience retention reports, and saying, okay, what do I need to do? What are some experiments that I can run over the next handful of videos to stop the drop when people first come into my video? So as soon as the video starts, what are some things that I can experiment with to try to capture their attention? It'll be the things you say. It'll be either you being on camera or trying to not be on camera, or having music or not having music. But it's mainly going to lean on, what it is that the viewer is hearing, or what it is that they're seeing. So because of that, you would get to work experimenting on those things in order to make the video better. And then you just keep working on that through the video content itself. Now, the next thing is if you are trying to get more views on your videos and boost engagement, is you do need to make sure that you are, I can't read any of your titles because this isn't in, like, I can't read this because it's in another language. But one of the things that I do recommend is there are a few videos in here that I can read. You want to make sure that you are optimizing everything for the audience that you're trying to reach. So if you're not trying to reach English speakers, I would not be using English titles. If you are doing English speaking, or you are trying to reach English speakers, then I wouldn't be using the other language in there. But the very first thing is to make sure that the content's good. Number two, since you are doing like mindset stuff and, positivity and those sorts of things, one thing that you might want to explore is a friend of mine. His name is Evan Carmichael, and he does like motivational content for entrepreneurs. Amazing guy, amazing YouTube channel. And in his particular case, he does compilation videos on he does a bunch of stuff. Like he puts all kinds of different content on his channel, but one of his like core things that he does is he has compilation videos of things that famous people, say that is targeted towards entrepreneurs. So in your particular case, if you're trying to do, positivity and overcoming negativity and things like that, taking a similar approach with people that are in that particular space, and then, doing those types of things. And then you can put them in like thumbnails and things like that, as long as you can find images of those people that you can have the rights to use. In a lot of cases, that'll be like Wikipedia, or based on your language here, you might also have resources like that, where you're at as well. But I would start doing those types of things as well, just to kind of add to it. And then one that kind of keeps you to where you can, not have to be in front of the camera sometimes, or it can help you increase your output or whatever, to where, the ones you're on camera, it might take a certain amount of time. And then you have the compilations that you do, that would be another amount of time. You could definitely try that sort of thing. Another thing is I would definitely pay really close attention. You have one video here. Again, I don't know what it says, but you have one video here 5 days ago with 13,000 views on it. The next grid, the 3 videos prior, have under 1,000 views for those. And then you had another one that was 2.2 thousand views. I would look at that 13,000 view video, go into the audience retention reports for it, look at how long the video was, look at what it was that you were saying, look at how you started that video, all of it. Like, look at everything, the topic of it, and see if there's anything there that you can also like repeat or turn into a theme or a series or anything like that, because people clearly responded well to that. Next up on the list, we've got, oop, wrong one. Nope.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. Next up, Playing the Mom Game. Playing the Mom Game has a clothing and product review channel. The goal of the channel is to make money, and I enjoy the process, she says. The question is, I get emails from brands, usually from random brands I've never heard of. They want to send me stuff and they say, for your review, and then sometimes they'll say that they have discount code for my audience or whatever. I think that it would be interesting to try some of these items, and if they're actually nice, I could work with them, but am I under any obligation to work with them if I just say, sure, send me a sample? Also, is it okay to give my personal address out, or better to get a PO box? So if you are, first, let's talk about the privacy thing. So if you are just wanting to, make sure that, nothing weird is happening, then in that particular case, a PO box is the win. The downside is I think it's FedEx doesn't deliver to PO boxes. So depending on how they are sending it, that might complicate things sometimes, or you might need to let them know that it's a PO box and therefore they have to send it with something else. But in terms of saying that, yeah, send them over and I'll try them out, don't obligate yourself to make the videos. So what you can do is you can say, yeah, send it to me. And if I like it, I'll make a video about it and just leave it there. And then that way, say if I like it, then I'll make a video about it, but I'll also let you know I'm going to make a video about it. So, once it gets here, I'm going to try it on, and then I'll let you know then once it gets here. And if I don't like it, in that particular case, I'm not going to ship it back to you because that takes time. And since it takes my time out, I'm not going to do that. That's also going to take me having to, find your, account if I have to send it, back via your account and, fill out whatever papers I have to spell out. You wouldn't say all that in the email, but basically say, when people send me stuff, it's all under the idea that if I enjoy it, that I, will make a video about it. But if there's something that I don't like about it, then in that particular case, I'm just going to, discard it or give it to charity or whatever the thing is. And then that way, they know upfront what the rules are, and you have that email to where you document specifically what it is that you're going to do. But what you want to do is when you are having that interaction, is you just want to be as transparent as you possibly can. Communication is always the win in terms of just making sure that you don't get yourself in trouble. Rumoy, I did yours, man. I did yours, Rumoy. I think. I mean, unless did you get back to Rumoy's question? Yeah, I thought so. Give me. I'll go back. I'll go back and check one more time because I hold on. I think it was like number 13, I believe, 13 or 12. Yeah, right there, 13. Yeah, goals to get monetized. Views dropped a lot since last week, and when my audience was watching is no different than before. I didn't do something offensive, or they just vanished. Any advice? Yeah, I went through a whole thing about how YouTube is kind of up and down, and not to worry about it, on a week by week basis. And that's good that you're paying attention, but I wouldn't stress out about it. Let's see here. So next up, we've got Mazzy Artistry. The type of channel is the art of storytelling lore. The goal of the channel is to entertain my viewers and in the future, get those big bags. The question is, hey, Nick, my question isn't just for my art channel, but all my channels. How do I get data, and what type of data, for seeing what format, creators, and videos my viewers watch? Because in YouTube Studio, I don't have it unlocked, and I really want to know what my viewers watch. So a couple things that you can do is you can go and study competitor channels. So if you go and you look at, I didn't know I skipped you, Mooney. Normally I just hit the next button and then I do whatever's there. So it's possible we got derailed last week. That's definitely possible because that happens sometimes. And then, I might skip there, but I answer them just in the order they come in, and I just hit the next button and go for it. So yeah, I apologize for skipping you last week. But the way that you do that when you don't have access to that in your analytics yet, and what they're talking about is in your YouTube analytics, there's an area that tells you what your viewers are watching. So, it shows you, other content that your viewers are into, other channels they watch, and all of that. So Mazzy doesn't have this, so they're looking for a solution. So one thing I would do, the best place that you can start is just looking for other channels that are like yours. And then in terms of formats, going there and looking at the videos that perform well on those channels. And then by doing that, you should get the information that you need by looking across a nice amount of those channels. So put together a spreadsheet, put the, each of the channel names that you are looking at, have a column for videos, have a column for shorts, have a column for live streams. I would also, while you're in there, go ahead and start tracking video lengths and, things like that. And any other similarities that you can find on the high performing content, and mark all that stuff down. And then once you have all of that information in a spreadsheet, then you can start looking at it and looking for, any similarities. Also, when you're finished looking at it, take a screenshot of it, drop it into ChatGPT, or just upload the spreadsheet and ask ChatGPT if they see any similarities as well that you should be mindful of. Let's see here. Next up, we have Build and Fix with Mooney. It's the next one. What are the odds of that? So this is in the number 19 spot, man. So let's see here. I've been making videos for 1 year or more. It's a DIY channel. The goal is to share and teach. And the question is, I'm still making bad videos, but I finally found some success with my long form videos. I know you've told me what to do since day one, and I've tried, but some of this YouTube advice just doesn't make sense until I failed or have the experience. The topic and title are the most important by far. I also learned that thumbnails for me need to be in your face simple. I guess I don't have a question. Thank you. Yeah. So when it comes to thumbnails, you can, this is a hard one to explain, but when it comes to thumbnails, you can make them detailed other than simple, but through the detail, it needs to still reflect simplicity, if that makes any sense. So the way that you reflect the simplicity is there needs to be a very clear point of focus in the thumbnail. And that point of focus needs to not compete with other areas of focus in the thumbnail. So for example, let's say you have a person like right in the middle, or you have an object right in the middle. Then in that particular case, you don't want to, I actually mentioned this in my video too, you don't want to have something else to the side that's not relevant to the topic, just for the sake of the design, that is a color that might pull the viewer's attention away from that thing that's in the middle, right? So like, let's say, for example, you have, in your case, what could we do in your case? Yeah, and in the woodworking or the DIY stuff, I can't think of just something off the top of my head. But the idea is that you do want to just keep a nice clear focus, and the easier that you do that, and the fewer words that you use and things like that, the better off you're going to be. Now there are cases where you can use more words and make things where you add more to the thumbnail. However, it's all going to be part of that focus, right? In terms of like, okay, they're going to see this first, and they're going to read this, and then they're going to go, oh, and then they're going to go down and read the title, right? So, but you just have to sit there and look at it and kind of think that through. TubeSpanner actually has a really cool tool, and I don't know if any of you know this, but TubeSpanner has a tool where there's a thing everybody does. It's called a blink test. Not everybody, but people that that are trying to get attention to their thumbnails, but it's called a blink test. And basically, what it is, you just like close your eyes. And then you open your eyes up and you look at your thumbnail and you see like where your eye goes first, to try to figure out what that focal point is if you don't have design experience and if you don't know how to, do that. So you just kind of through trial and error, you do that. So TubeSpanner has a tool that's really cool to where you can upload the thumbnail that you made into it. And then in addition to the actual like blink test that you're doing, the whole screen will black out. If you turn that option on, the whole screen blacks out. And then when it comes on, your thumbnail just randomly appears somewhere on the screen. So then from there, you get to see like, oh, okay, like how fast does my thumbnail stand out to me compared to all these other videos? Like, is there another video that's pulling that attention for me? And that particular tool by itself is a pretty awesome tool inside of TubeSpanner. I got a link down in TubeSpanner down in the description if anybody wants to check that out. Film School Dad, what's going on? I appreciate it. I am for the breadth of content. Cheers. Cool. Glad that you're enjoying the content, Film School Dad. Appreciate it. So next up, we've got, okay, we did Mooney there. So we're on number 20. This is great. We're cruising today. Arkansas Unearthed. They upload when they have time, but on YouTube for a year or more. The type of channel is Arkansas Rock Hounding Amateur Geology. The goal of the channel is to share rock hounding and geology experiences and information about Arkansas and sometimes other places, and eventually get monetized. The question is, I've used trending copyrighted music that artists, give me 1 second here.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
All right. So I've used trending copyrighted music that artists allow to be used in a few of my shorts. No strikes, but it's copyrighted music. If I get monetized, should I remove those shorts? Will it affect monetization, and or will I end up with strikes on those shorts? So you never want to use music that an artist is just like, hey, yeah, you can use it, and they don't give you any proof. Cathay Fit? No, I've not gotten to yours yet. So when you are using music, you need to make sure that you're getting a license that allows you to use that music. If you do not get that license, then you are always going to have the threat of getting a copyright strike on that content. So you got to be really careful and make sure that you are not, you're not using things that you don't have like explicit written permission in the form of license to use. For every piece of content that you put on your channel where you do have that, and you don't have a license for it, you are putting yourself at risk. And it's not just like, it's not necessarily that the artist is going to cause a problem from you. Like the artists are probably awesome, and they're probably thinking like, hey, yeah, if they use it, that's cool. That's just more people hearing my music, right? But the problem is, let's say that artist starts getting some attention. Let's say they make a TikTok video, and that TikTok video blows up, and they start having all these record companies reach out. And this record company is like, hey, we're going to give you this big bag of money. We just want to license all your songs. And they're like, okay, let's do it. And they do that. Then now all of a sudden that company is the rights holder, and they can actually perform the claims and strikes on your account. But since you don't have that paper, it doesn't matter what the artist said, because the artist isn't even the rights holder anymore. But if you have the license, that license will transfer even if that content or even if that music is sold. So because of that, you just want to make sure that you are getting that the actual license. Let's see here. Okay, yep, got that. Magic Prepper, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. Home rapid repair, same exact thing. Kind words, love these. Thank you. So, yeah, and if anybody, thanks, Kathy. So if anybody does need music, by the way, we have a free music resource for content creators where we do give the license. If you want to pay for stuff, there's services like Epidemic Sound where they provide the same thing, Artlist, places like that. But you just want to make sure that you get the license. YouTube has creator music. With that, there are some kind of weird things. I made a live stream about that when they first came out with it. Make sure if you are going to use creator music, you watch that live stream. I'm not, throwing shade on it in any way, but there's just things that you need to know, right? Like it's fine to use, but there's just things that you need to know about it. So just make sure that you are, looking into that before you just go for it. So next up, we got Cathay Fit. Love it. Good timing. Does dance and fitness content. The goal of the channel is to grow an audience, share my dance and fitness routine and my own growth. And the question is, so I've been doing talking head videos. Some are about my own journey. Some are tips and advice videos, but I realized I feel more authentic when I speak, not looking at the camera. I do look at it sometimes or as much as I can remember. I feel like my real personality comes out when I'm not looking. I try making some of the videos, I try making some of the videos several times and they just don't feel good when I look directly in my videos. I have a video of me sitting in my car, but I feel like I was able to deliver what I wanted to say, but the angle of my video isn't even facing the camera. What should I do? Just put B-roll or something? It's hard for me. So what you can do is first publish some and just see how people respond to them. If you find that like, yeah, you know what? People want that connection, then start looking at the camera and learn how to get, comfortable and more fluid with it. Like when it comes to these types of things, the preference can be one thing, but if you find that people do not respond to the preference, then that's where you have to, that's where it's like, okay, well, if they're not responding to this, then let me try something else, right? So you might find that people are like, oh yeah, no problem at all. We don't care. Just give us, the information. But there's something about, when a content creator is speaking directly to the camera. So like, for example, like during this live stream or anytime that I live stream, like sometimes like when we're in the multi-camera setup and all that stuff over there, sometimes I'll just completely look at the wrong camera. But usually when I'm making videos, like if I'm looking right at the camera, I'll look off sometimes or whatever, just like in natural conversation, right? And just look off, look at something and then look back at the camera. But the idea is that you want the viewer to feel like they are involved if you are doing like a one-to-one video. Now, Hollywood, they do the fly on the wall approach where you're just kind of watching people do things and people respond to that too. But one of the awesome things about content is that it creates something called a parasocial relationship with people that are really into what it is that you're doing. So when you are looking directly at the camera, then that gives you the opportunity to actually, let them know like, hey, I'm talking to you, right? Like I'm not, talking to this person outside of the car. I'm not talking to this person that's sitting over the other side of the room. I'm talking to you, right? And that kind of helps, with the connection side of YouTube. Another thing that you see is you do see like a lot of podcasters to where, they're having the conversation amongst themselves. And because of that, they're not, I'm talking to you, Magic Prepper, I'm talking to you. But like they're, the podcasters, they're sitting there talking to each other, but that's okay because you're participating in their conversation. You're not they're not having the conversation directly with you. You're participating in their conversation. So you're an onlooker. So because of that, they don't need to look at you. But if you're having a conversation directly with the viewer, then in that particular case, it can be advantageous to, talk to them, directly. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we've got, and I'm going back one just to make sure I didn't skip something here. Okay, we're good. Okay, number 22. Love it. Time travel reads is the question here for the channel here. It's a book channel. The goal of the channel is to share my reading journey. Goal of the channel says, when I made my thumbnails more fancy, I got either fewer impressions or a worse click-through rate. Why? Before they were just pictures of me. Probably because you made them fancy. So here's the thing. We were just talking about this a few minutes ago. We were talking about, simplicity is usually the best route. And the reason for that is because of that thing. Like it helps like focus people on like one thing when it's just a picture compared to trying to make fancy thumbnails where there's like a bunch of stuff going on. Like if you're a graphic, if you have like graphic design experience or you just intuitively know, how to put stuff together, then in that case, you can get a little bit more adventurous when it comes to putting thumbnails together. But when it comes to, just simplicity, yeah, just sometimes just a picture does the thing. I'm looking at your thumbnails right now. It looks like they're all just a photo. So a couple things that I would do in your particular case is if you are doing a photo, since you are a booktuber, your most recent video has books in it. All of these other videos here that I'm looking at, I don't see anything that would tell me as a viewer that you're a booktuber. The advantage that you have here is that because you're just a person looking at the camera and that's the only image, people are going to read the title, right? Like a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I wonder what this is. And they're going to read the title. So basically you are just the attention thing and they're just going to drop straight to the title. So because of that, you really need to work on your titles. Okay. Like for example, June 2024 TBR, not a good title, right? Like you need to think to yourself, you need to think, okay, if this were to show up to me on the homepage of YouTube, would I be like, oh, I got to see this? If the answer is no, then in that case, you should probably, keep working on it. But the other thing that I would consider is that if you have a bookshelf, which I'm going to assume that you do, if you read a lot, if you have a bookshelf, I would take your pictures in front of a bookshelf instead, so that booktubers can at least, or not booktubers, but people that are, that are into books, they can at the very least see that that there's books in the background, right? So then they can at the very least see that you're like them. Another thing that you might want to do is if you are talking about a specific book, even though you're just on the photo, you can just do you holding up the book too. So I would do those type of experiments as well to see if that helps. Because right now it's just like you in different clothes, but there's nothing here that says that it has anything to do with books. Let's see here. Next up, Time Travel Reads was the name of the channel. Jess Book Girl. Next up, Imperial Remnant. What's going on, my dude? Does daily content, but on YouTube for less than a year. Does Star Wars lore. I don't know if, oh, you know what? Neither of these shots get my helmet in there. Man. I was about to brag there for a second, but oh well. Okay, so the question is, started live streaming last week despite tech issues. It was a lot of fun. The regular, it is great, right? The regular rules for title and thumbnails seem hard to apply to these. Any tips? Also, what is the best way to spread awareness before them? Just community posting, and congratulations on the wedding. Thank you. So the very first thing when it comes to the live streams is it can be challenging when it comes to the thumbnails and titles, but you do want to try to isolate your conversation around something that will pull people in. So for example, if it is, if you're building something, or, if you are talking about, just the lore in general, having something, related to that in the title is definitely something to consider. Like you might not be able to make it as compelling, because it's you having the conversation versus you like showing the stuff. But here, I'm going to your live tab right now. First live stream. Okay, yeah. So like this right here, like for your community and stuff, this is probably cool in terms of the title itself being first live stream. And I'm going to pull this up just because it's an awesome stuff here. So boom. Yeah, so like this for the first title, right? You say first live stream, skeleton crew premiere discussion. So this doesn't really give any context. Like if this were, like I watch Star Wars stuff sometimes in terms of on YouTube, and if this were to show up on my homepage, I wouldn't have taken a second glance at this. I see, that you have the Star Wars imagery in the background, but it's still really hard to like make out at a glance. So that's why you always want to be thinking like, okay, at a glance, what's the thing people are going to focus on? In your particular case right now, the thing that stands out is this first live stream, right? And then from there, if that grabs somebody's attention, they're going to go, oh, this is this person's first live stream. What is it? First live stream, skeleton crew premiere discussion. Makes no sense, right? At all. There in terms of, why somebody should click into that. Instead, let's say you take this dude or another Star Wars character, cut them out, make them big here, and then thumbnail says let's talk about Star Wars. Might be a little bit wordy, but like, let's talk about Star Wars. And then here down in your title, something else along those lines, but, you know, maybe put something here that might challenge people. Like, you know, if you have a strong opinion about something Star Wars, maybe something that's controversial, something like that. And this is just one example, but, you know, having something like that down here would make people, when they see that, it helps them, you know, identify that it's something Star Wars related. And then they come down here and they're like, oh, this person thinks Greedo shot first. Okay, well, let's go in here and have that conversation, right? So like the idea is to you know, lean on things that people, you know, already know, in your case specifically, focus on that. And then remember that the thumbnail grabs their attention and then they read the title. So then you have to make sure that you're thinking like, okay, as a Star Wars fan that's into this enough that I'm making content on YouTube about it, what could I talk about in this live stream that I would click on and that I would actually go in and hang out with? And if I saw this on my home page at a glance, or in the suggested videos at a glance, would I be able to make out what is happening here in this thumbnail, and quickly and easily, without having to think about it, would I be able to instantly identify that this has something to do with Star Wars, right? So I would start taking that approach for your live streams. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to live streaming, you know, live streams are different than video content. Like, I don't know what your purpose of your live stream was. Like, for example, this live stream, I still let people know it's about YouTube. I still talk about, you know, learning how to get views and that kind of stuff. Because, you know, if somebody hangs out in this live stream, they're going to learn all the stuff over time. So because of that, you know, I still put those things in there, and, you know, that will pull in new viewership as well. But the real purpose of this stream is to serve people that are already interacting with the content and to hang out, right? And to help people solve like very nuanced, you know, problems that they're having and understand things better. So that's the purpose of this stream. If I was trying to, you know, grow the channel with this stream, I would take a completely different approach than what I do. I definitely wouldn't have a coffee song as my trailer if I was trying to grow the channel. Instead, I would have a trailer that's like, hey, meet here. We're going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing a training on YouTube. We're going to, you know, I'm going to be showing you how to do these very specific things. And then when the stream started, I would do that. And it wouldn't just be a Q&A. I would do a training. And then after the training, I would do a short Q&A to answer any questions anybody had, right? If I was going to grow the channel. So if your purpose is like, hey, I'm just trying to connect with people that are already into what it is that I'm doing, then I would make it clear that it's yours, you know, so that the people that are into your content can come in there and hang out. But if you are trying to use it as one of the things to grow the channel, then in that particular case, I would make sure that you are leaning heavily on the imagery. Traveling with Russell says, think of the words in the title that people might type to search to find a video like you're making. Excellent tip. Love that. Putting that on the screen here for a second. There we go. Yeah, thank you for that. So next up on the list here, we've got Dougie. They do gaming, playthrough, and game review content. The goal of the channel is to tell people about games and make gaming videos. The question is, I asked you last stream about animation reviews with gaming. I made a new channel only for my game content, which is playing games. And I also talk about the games I finished, like reviews. My question is, for a new channel, am I better off posting weekly or daily to get more views and subs? The real answer to this question is that you say here, am I better off posting weekly or daily? You're better off not focusing so much on if it's best to post weekly or daily. You're better off focusing on, how can I make this video better? How can I make the next video that I publish better than this one? How can I make the video after that better? How can I make it easier for people to identify that this video is about something that they care about through the thumbnail, so they'll stop and read my title? How can I make the title that they're going to read compelling and interesting, or make that person feel that like, hey, this is informative, this is something sounds interesting, let me check it out, or make them feel like, oh, I need to click on this to figure out what's happening here, right? That's what you should be focused on right now. I wouldn't focus so hard on making sure that you're posting weekly or daily. I would focus on the quality of your content. And by quality of content, this is determined by the viewers. And this is a hard thing for content creators. I see all the time on Reddit, people are like, you know, and I'm not saying that you're, you know, doing this, but all the time I see on Reddit where people are like, oh yeah, you know, my edits are great. My thumbnails are awesome. I'm writing good titles, and just nobody's watching my videos, right? It's like, well, if they were, you know, if they were awesome, then people would be watching your videos, right? So make sure that you're focused more on the quality of content, and the viewers are going to be the ones that determine that. So right now while you're new and you're, finding your way here. Do a lot of experimentation in terms of like, how you're grabbing people's attention, how you're starting the videos, things like that, the different formats that you're choosing to make, or the different structures of your videos that you're choosing to use, and focus on like those types of things, so that the step number one is to get the content to a competitive level. And you can see how they're going right now by going into your analytics and changing the graph to compared to other videos, and then also look at your absolute audience retention as well. And then that's going to show you like how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. And then from there, just focus on making your next video as good as it can possibly be, regardless if it takes you a week to make that video, or if you can spit one out every day. The goal is to focus on making the next video better, because that's the path. Uploading a lot isn't the path if people aren't responding to the content. Okay. So because of that, make sure that you're focusing on like, okay, how can I make this better? How can I make this better? What do I need to learn in order to make this better? Do I need to, watch some videos on presenting? Do I need to watch some videos on charisma? Do I need to watch some videos on editing? Do I need to watch some videos on like those types of things in order to, get that type of information in terms of things that I can practice, right? Trying to get better. Do I need to, read some articles about copywriting, or watch some videos about copywriting, or, those types of things, so I can start making better titles? But learning how to do all those things, focus on that. That'll get you way farther than just trying to publish a bunch of videos all the time. Because just to put this into perspective, like if you upload 1,000 videos to YouTube and people don't respond to those videos, it doesn't matter that you have 1,000 videos up on YouTube. If you upload, 3 good videos on YouTube, those 3 good videos can bring some real attention to you if they're really good videos. So because of that, the real goal is to learn how to make content that people respond to well. And it's challenging. It's challenging. And it's also, in my opinion, it's challenging, and it's becoming a little bit more challenging. Like we're kind of in this weird place where like we have all the information available at our fingertips through like YouTube and through like articles and through podcasts and through, like Chat GPT and stuff. Like we have everything that we need there, but at the same exact time that we can learn rapidly, like there's so many more people coming onto YouTube and they're making better and better content. And when people are coming onto YouTube, and people are like, every video that somebody publishes to a YouTube channel that is substantially better than everybody else's video, it kind of raises the bar a little bit, because that video is going to start, getting some, views on it. And every group of people that you have that come onto YouTube and they start making really good videos, that's also going to raise the bar a little bit in terms of how good the content needs to be. And the reason that happens is because on YouTube, you're not just competing against the other people that are making videos like yours. You're competing with everything that YouTube thinks that the people that are watching your videos, that they are watching as well, right? So for example, if the people that are watching your videos are also watching Mr. Beast videos, Mr. Beast is a competitor, right? If the people that are watching your videos are watching Markiplier, then in that case, he's a competitor, right? So the whole idea is that you have to learn how to make the videos first. And then from there, once you get it to a competitive level and you're like, okay, now I'm getting like the views that I want and like things are starting to move, that is where you're like, okay, do I want to increase my output? And if the answer is yes, then that's where you start walking down that road. And as a matter of fact, since we're talking about increasing output, so for people that are making good content already, like if you are watching this live stream and you're like, yeah, you know what, my videos are, good. Already people are responding well to them. One thing that can be, advantageous, or one thing that you can do with your videos, I should say, just in case you haven't ran across this idea yet, I want to share it with you. In transparency, I am sponsored by Opus Clip, but I'm actually doing this on another channel as well. And I'm going to be actually ramping it up on that channel this year, also with regular landscape content. But I have another channel, and on that particular channel, it's where I take these live streams and then I cut them up using Opus Clip at opus.pro is where you find it. But basically on Opus Clip, what they do is they take your videos and they they'll take a long live stream or a long video, and then they will chop it up into a bunch of like small clips that you can use. And the clips that you can get out of it are, you can get like short clips that you can use as YouTube shorts, but you can also get up to, I think it's 15 minutes. So like in this case, if I'm talking about something on this live stream and it ends up being like a, 5-minute video, then I can take that entire 5-minute video and upload it to that channel. I'm not doing that yet for the long form, but I'm going to be in 2025. Right now we're just doing like a shorts experiment on it and just kind of flooding it with shorts to just kind of see what happens over there with those. But the cool thing about it though, is if you're already making good content that people are already responding to, not only can you create new YouTube channels with it, but you can also create new accounts. So like one thing, like if you're somebody that watches people like Joe Rogan or like, certain comedians or whatever, you see how people are like taking their clips and like you can't go onto one of those sites without seeing them. And one of the cool things about that as a content creator is if you have like, okay, here's my main TikTok account and then I'm going to create another one. Here's my main YouTube account and I'm going to create another one. And then those give you those outlets to where you can just, kind of, just regularly publish that content that doesn't take hardly any time to also start expanding your brand. So one thing, I was on a call with them the other day, and one of the things that they are having right now is they're having content creators that are using Opus Clip, and they're clipping their own stuff, creating new YouTube channels, new social media accounts. Those are getting monetized. And for hardly like any effort at all, they're able to, generate additional revenue for their YouTube business, or their content business, I should say in that regard, just from clipping, their own stuff and putting it up on, these additional accounts. So, keep in mind that, those types of things are out there and available for you. If that is, if you're already at that level where you're like, yeah, my stuff is good, people are responding to it, I'm getting good view counts, and you have that kind of proof, then Opus Clip is a great solution for just kind of expanding your brand and getting you kind of, all over the place and popping up more. Because, one of the things is like when, Tan going in the kitchen joined yesterday. Awesome. So one of the things when you are publishing content, and I'm sure you see this happen when you're a viewer also, but one of the things when you're publishing content is, even though like somebody comes to like your main YouTube channel, if they're watching somebody else's stuff, right? Like, for example, if I get a podcast interview, that podcaster will usually make a bunch of clips of that podcast interview and they'll put them out there. So what happens is people end up running into me in the short shelf anyway on their stuff. And then what's cool is if my content gets recommended to them, as long as the topic is good, then in that particular case, like they're already familiar with me and they've already seen me a handful of times before they even run into my stuff. So then when they run into my stuff, they're already like primed and ready to go, right? So because of that, there's also those types of advantages too, is it's just additional touch points that you can have with people to kind of expand your brand and just expand the awareness of you and what it is that you're doing. But just wanted to get that in there. But the next channel here that we are talking about is Sabine's Best World. They upload 1 time per week or more. They do kids content. The goal of the channel is entertainment for kids and to give parents a safe place where their kids can enjoy content that's wholesome and fun, and shows a parent and child building a bond while having fun at the same time and encouraging creativity through the child. The question is, my daughter's channel recently became monetized, and now I have the option to set up the BrandConnect through YouTube. What's the pros and cons of doing so? Also, we post a minimum of once a week on Fridays, and we haven't been getting recommended a lot. I'm trying to figure out what the issue is and if it's around packaging or not. Yeah, so, when it comes to packaging, you can just look at your click-through rate, and that'll let you know if it's the packaging. And then if it's the actual content itself, you can go into your audience retention reports. You get that with every single video that you publish to the platform. Look in the audience retention reports, you're going to see exactly how people responded to the video, on average. And then you also have the drop down to compare it to compare your video against other videos of similar length. And that's going to know, just give you some insights onto like, okay, are people responding well to this or not? And are they responding well compared to other videos? Because if you are not getting recommended a lot, then that means that people probably aren't responding at a high rate. So because of that, that's where, you need to say, okay, let me get to work on my thumbnails. If I find that, my people aren't clicking on them a lot. And the best place to look for this is, in your traffic sources report, inside of your analytics. But if you're not getting not tons, but if you're not getting, that many views, I'm actually going to look at it. I'm not going to pull it up on screen. I'm just going to look real quick. But if you're not getting like lots of views, or not lots of views, I keep saying that. If you're not getting a decent amount of views, then in that case, some of that information is like you can't really pull tons from it. Yeah, so really quick, I think your thumbnails are like clear. Your thumbnails are clear, easy to read. You're talking about things like roadblocks and, that kind of stuff. So I think you're fine there. You are kind of mixing up like, vlog type stuff. It looks like challenges, things like that. You are mixing that up, with, it looks like, Oh, okay. So it's still the adventure with Dad. Yeah. So you're good there. So yeah. So with that, I think you are. I think like I think your thumbnails are actually okay here at a glance, just really quick. Yeah, I think your thumbnails are okay. So yeah, I would definitely just think topically and think, okay, what do we have that people have really responded to well, and then of course I would see if you can make other videos along a similar theme to see if you can just kind of tap into that a little bit. But yeah, like I think your thumbnails are actually okay. But yeah, topics and titles are definitely things that I would work on your side. Let's see here. Next up, we've got Living in Diz. Living in Diz, they have a live streaming Disney World channel. The goal of the channel is to share Disney with the world. And the question is, can you show your technical difficulties video? Yes, I can. Yeah, so this particular question here, so they reached out on Twitter and they're like, hey, can I check out that technical difficulties video? I have somebody that is wanting to like make something, kind of like that. And I was like, yeah, I don't have it available. It's actually in my StreamYard account. So I was like, swing by the stream and mention it. I'll show it to you. So this is it. If you are seeing this video, it's because we are having technical difficulties, which means right now, while you're watching this, we are frantically running around behind the scenes, trying to get everything either turned back on or trying to get something connected or trying to fix whatever seems to have happened that did cause us to lose signal or cause the tech to go down or whatever the situation happened to be. So please be patient. We'll see you in just a few minutes. Thank you for your patience. All right, there you go. Next up on the list, we've got a Down Statistic. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel says I want to build a community of like-minded people. And the question is, I'm at 105 subs. Would it be beneficial for my channel to live stream? If you have people that keep coming back to the channel, if you have like 3 people that are just always in your comment section, like every time you publish, you just have that like group that comes in and says, hey, then in that particular case, I think you're good to go. If you are trying to have people in the stream, if you're trying to work on the skill set side, then in that case, I would just go ahead and stream. The reason for that is because if you're working on the skill set side, then because, live streaming is pretty easy, but there are, some technical aspects to it. There's also the side of like, okay, how long can I just talk about stuff and, getting used to that whole thing. So an advantage of streaming when nobody's watching is that you get to like mess up in private, right? Because nobody's seeing it. You can also unlist it or whatever if nobody comes into the stream, those sorts of things. So you can just practice. And the reason that that's advantageous to do when you're like getting going is because you get to work on that particular skill set. And then, by the time you do have people participating in the stream, then you're probably going to, be pretty good at it because you've been doing it. So that's the real advantage of live streaming while you're still getting started. Scale Train Station, they upload when they have time, does model trains. The goal of the channel is to be the destination channel for model trains. And the question is, what's the difference between a brand channel and a non-brand channel? And is one better for being monetized and business focused channel? So the only real advantage these days of a brand channel is really nothing. So at the time, like back in the day, with a brand channel, that would be the way that you would have to give permission for people to access your channel. So like, for example, you would have your main, or you would have a YouTube channel and it would just be, a regular channel and you would just be the only person with access to that channel. And then you would have a brand channel, like let's say that you are, a company and you're going to have people uploading content, multiple people uploading content, people making thumbnails, those types of things. Then in that particular case, you give people access to your YouTube channel to do those things. And the brand accounts were the only way that you could do that. Now, YouTube has added the permissions feature to every YouTube channel. So now all you have to do is go into the permission settings and then you can, do it that way. So as of right now, there's no real advantage of having a brand channel. Technically, if you like sell the channel as part of a business, then, there might be some advantages there. But even with that, you can still do that with a regular channel now too. So, so a brand channel really isn't necessary these days. There might be some like nuanced use case there, but like, you know, at scale, yeah, like brand channels aren't really necessary. Let's see here. Next up, we got Chronic Life Success is our next channel. They upload every other day. Been on YouTube for less than a month. Hey, welcome to the creator side of YouTube. The type of channel is chronic illness podcast and medical research. Excuse me. The goal of the channel is to provide people with chronic illness information about how to adjust and still find success post-diagnosis. The question is, just started the channel a few weeks ago. I got the 40 subs already. Congratulations. After suffering a chronic illness that left me permanently injured, I found that there is no content about how to live life after and adjust. There seems to be a lack of content in this area, so I'm doing a podcast interviewing others with chronic illness and pain, and then medical research videos for every other day content. So I think this is cool. I think the what it is that you're doing is cool, and I think it'll add value to people that find themselves in those situations. In terms of the medical research videos, I'm not sure if that's going to be a great fit for the people that are listening to the stories of the people that have the chronic illness. However, you know, having both and experimenting to see what people respond to best, because if you're just getting started now, because you've only been doing this for a month, so if you're just getting started now, you can always say, hey, people are really digging our conversation, so I'm just going to lean in that direction, or people are really loving this medical research stuff, so I'm going to, you know, lean more in that direction. So, you know, right now, running them side by side, I think is fine, because that gives you an experiment to run essentially. But what I would do is I would just track both of them and see if you do notice, like, hey, every time we do this thing, it gets a lot more activity compared to when we do the other. If you do find that, then in that particular case, you might want to just lean into one over the other. But I just think that there's a little bit of a audience difference there on the medical research content compared to the conversations about the chronic illness. Next up, we got Recreate. They do explainer videos. The goal is 10,000 and around February. The question is, I want to ask your opinion about, is mediocre content killing YouTubers? As I know how to create great content, but I just don't have time. So I did an experiment of bad style video and it's performing great. So here's the thing. And this is, I kind of touched on this earlier, but I was answering a question earlier and I mentioned that viewers are the ones that determine quality. And that's the case. So when it comes to YouTube, you know, we have, you know, what we think is good. And a lot of people by default are like, okay, if you have a good camera and you have a good setup and a good microphone, things like that, by default, it's good. It's not. There's plenty of people with the same stuff and like, you know, like they can't get a view, right? So like what really matters is how the viewers respond to what it is that you're doing. And your interpretation of what this type of viewer that you're serving with this content, your interpretation of what it is that they might, you know, what might be great content for them, you might have just found that that might not be what it is that they actually want. And that's one of the challenging things, because when you're publishing videos to YouTube, you know, you're trying to do your best. You're trying to, you know, make the best stuff for that audience. And sometimes you might be, you know, like your target might be here, but you might be firing over here. Right. So, you know, you might have just, you know, stumbled across something that is now hitting them here. So what I would do is I would just experiment by doing that some more and, you know, try to look for exactly what it is that you think people responded to on this one. But keep in mind, you know, you are doing YouTube Shorts content, and it could have just been, because I see this one here, the secret meanings behind the Apple logo, like that particular thing by itself could just be, you know, topically the thing that people respond to, right? How strong are your teeth? That one's done okay. The secret behind the Apple logo, is your banana radioactive? You know, like these videos here, like, yeah, I think you're just kind of finding stuff that people, you know, respond to. So yeah, so in terms of good, just remember a rule of thumb for YouTube is it's always determined by the viewer. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we've got Tier Talk. Does educational content for educational purposes. And the question is, my channel has 4 days of strong sub growth last week, but suddenly stopped completely. I've checked analytics and I can't find the cause. Any advice? So you can sort by date range in your analytics. And then you can also, there's going to be a little blue icon if you go into advanced mode. If you're in advanced mode, you go to a little bit lower than the middle of the screen. you're going to see like a little blue, you're going to see like graphs, going across and all that. You're going to see like a little blue icon that allows you to add, data points in there. Click on that and add subscribers gained. And then, when you do that, then go in and sort by the actual videos themselves. And then take the date range down to that 4 days. And then you're going to be able to see the content that brought those subscribers in. Next up, the Campbell Cloud has been on YouTube for a year or more. They do vlog content. The goal of the channel is family lifestyle content. And the question is, uploading content on this channel for 4 years, can't seem to break through, stuck at 100,000 subscribers, shorts perform well, 70 to 80%, choose to view, always over 100% retention, long form, 5 to 10% click-through rate, 4 to 5 minute retention. We just can't get to that next level. Yeah, vlogs are tough when it comes to that. Vlogs are tough. I'm just going to take a really quick look. See what you are doing here. So is your problem that people aren't subscribing, or is your problem that you're just not getting the views? Oh, okay, I see what's going on. So you had like this particular video pop. Man. Okay, so I don't know if you have the content to support this, but this video with 23 million views on it, if you have any videos that are directly related to this, because you have here, the title of this is Mom Gave Birth to Our Baby in the Car. If you have like a follow-up to this, like a video that you published in terms of the aftermath of this, I would definitely put both of these into a playlist, and then I would have everything in that video, if it's still getting traffic, targeted towards that particular video as well. If people respond to that, that can help both videos start getting additional traction on YouTube from both of those. I'm not sure it'll continue to do I'm not sure if it'll blow it out of the park like you already did, but I've worked with channels before to where we've done similar things to where it's like a progression literally around childbirth. And we just put them together in terms of this happened, then this happened, then this happened in the playlist. 3 videos, mooned. Like yeah. They went from like 200. I can't remember that particular one because it's been, I think, so they were getting 200,000 or 300,000 views. We put that together, and it was still getting a lot of impressions and a lot of views on the main video. And they went from like 200,000 to 300,000 views up to like 12 million views, literally from that particular chain. It was incredible. So as soon as I saw this, I saw it was about birth. It just kind of brought that back to me. So I would definitely try to do that, but I wouldn't like depend on that though. Yeah. So if you have hit this place and you're kind of like falling off, I would definitely go through, man. And there's little nuances to these things. Like, for example, and I know this isn't something that you probably want to look at, but it might just kind of help inform you on what you need to do. So when it comes to vlog channels, audiences sometimes can respond better to some people than other people and things like that. And I know you want to include everybody, and you should, but there might be some things that you're doing to where some people get to where maybe prioritizing camera time for some personalities and a little bit less for others, things like that. You can do that. If you want to keep it all pure, like you're currently doing, then don't even look for that information. But you can find that kind of stuff out in like the grouping feature and look in your analytics. You're going to have to really dig on this one, but if you wanted to explore that, you can. Other things is like I saw that you have one thing where you're like having a kid, people are kind of, it looks like from your recent content, people have kind of grown up, but I mean, you still do have videos pop. So I would definitely start looking for, and I'm sure you're doing this already, but I would start looking for like patterns in terms of like, okay, when our family's doing these types of things, people respond better than when they're doing these types of things. Like right out of the gate, these videos right here where you're on the beach, they're kind of stacked on top of each other from my view. Like with both of these here, you guys are like both on the beach and stuff, but neither of these have like lots of views on them, but they do have, more than some of the ones that are surrounding them. But like just looking for like little nuance things like that. Like, for example, other things. And again, these are things that it looks like you might already be experimenting with. But like this one up here where it's like, okay, you, and then it looks like your son, then your daughter, then your wife, and then your other daughter. And then you guys are all kind of like, kind of crammed into the camera. like even trying to repeat things like that, when possible, and seeing if, if you can find a pattern there. Like, okay, when we're kind of, when we're all together and close up in the camera, then, people seem to click on them more than we're like far back and away from the camera, those types of things. So you can start getting those types of, patterns together. Other things that you're going to run into is I see here that you're doing, I don't know if all of this, if your whole entire channel is the Philippines or not, but I see here that you do have some content that seems to be, specifically about the Philippines. And, from that, if that's something new, then in that case, that can cause, some changes as well. Yeah. So in a situation like this, like I can look at the surface level stuff and give you some like hypotheticals like that, but really like for what it is that you're doing, I would need back-end access. Unfortunately, I'm not taking on clients at the moment, but yeah, like with your type of channel, like I would definitely need to look at the back end here. But here are some things that you want to look for is, like I said, you want to look for the people in the videos. You want to look for themes in terms of like, when we do these types of videos, people respond better. Because I see like in your recent videos, you have the one where it's just like you and your wife, and it seems like it's about, just about you guys. And then you have the ones where it's like your whole family's taking trips and, things like that. So, just looking into all of those types of things and just looking for patterns that show some type of, consistent response, and then trying to lean more into that if you can. The challenge with vlogs is that particular thing. So it's like, hey, if we're going here and doing this and going here and doing this and going here and doing this, then it starts becoming, challenging to, to have those patterns, but trying to find them and trying to lean into them when you can for just those little, spurts that brings attention to everything else is kind of the play there. Yeah, I wish I could help you more at a glance, but just from what I'm looking at here at a glance, yeah, it's really kind of all I have for you. Next up, we've got Future of Food with Chef Kelly. They upload one time per week or more. The type of channel is talking head content. It's corporate chef gone rogue, pulling back the curtain of the food industry. The goal of the channel is to educate and bring awareness. And build know, like, and trust and brand sponsorships. And the question is, I watch Hey Dominic too. I love him. It leads me to this question. Instagram recently thinned out followers they suspected were fakes, bots, and otherwise abandoned profiles based on lack of engagement. I lost some, but got better reach and engagement with those that I had left. On YouTube, can we audit our subscribers somehow for the same reasons? I only have about 700 subs, but I started this channel a year ago, and one random weekend, I got a couple hundred followers out of nowhere, but my views never increased, nor did I have any new engagement. Are there any analytics or deadweight subs or for deadweight subs? Are we allowed to drop them if we suspect they aren't real or nefarious in some way? So they do have the returning viewers thing to where you can see like how many people are actually coming back to the channel on a regular basis. They do have that. However, we do not have a way to purge our own subscribers. So if somebody subscribes to a channel, if they're a good fit for it or not, they're still subscribed. Keep in mind though, YouTube is going to detect if they're not engaging, they're going to detect that. And every video that you publish that they don't engage with is getting them farther and farther away from getting recommended your content. Next up, I think we're going to get them all in. This is great. Next up, we got Babul Raj is the next channel. They do art and science content. The goal of the channel is to make art and science fun. And the question is, my channel is a mess, but I still like it. Should I stop? If you still like it, that's all that matters, right? Like when it comes to doing this stuff, everybody does it for all kinds of different reasons. If you do it and you just like putting content together and sharing it with the world, like that's enough, right? If that's what you want to do. Craft That by Cat. They upload miniature content. The goal of the channel is to share my love of miniatures and hopefully someday get monetized. And the question is, after a mental health break, what would be the best way to jump back into it? Go into your YouTube analytics, scroll down the page, and you're going to see the videos that are bringing in the most activity to your channel currently in your absence, while you've been gone. Look at those videos and look at the ones that are bringing in the most viewership over time and ask yourself, okay, for the people that were watching these videos, what would be a video that I could make next that these particular people that were watching these videos would be the most likely to enjoy? And then from there, hop back on the horse, get back to, publishing content on a regular basis. Next up, we've got Open Air Outdoors. The goal is to share adventures. And the question is, last year, I became aware that views go down every January across the platform. Just now, my views have dropped right after having a video that did really well for me. Is this drop actually a thing? And should we expect it coming into the new year? So every channel doesn't go through this. Some channels do. But like there's a seasonality to YouTube anyway for a lot of different types of content. So like if you look in your analytics, you know, it's rare for everything just to be straight, right? So because of that, like just look historically on your YouTube channel. How long have you been on here? Yeah, you've been on here for a year or more. So if you have been on YouTube for, let's say 2 years, then in that particular case, just go and look and kind of see what happened last year. But when it comes to, channels, they're always going like this. Even like the biggest, fastest growing channels, they're still going like this. It's just their swings are usually a little bit bigger than people that, that aren't, gigantic like that. So because of that, it's possible that they might go down for you. Your ad rates probably, it's likely that they will. But in terms of the actual traffic, that's really going to come down to, since you are doing outdoorsman content and sharing adventures, it's really going to come down to in the new year, are people still going to be into that type of content? I would wager that, with New Year's resolutions, things like that, people want to like get out and do more, those sorts of things. There's probably going to be, some people that are going to watch your content just looking for like stuff to do and ideas and things like that. So that might be something that you might want to embrace or consider, so that you can, kind of tap into that, as the clock ticks around there for the new year. All right. Now, one other thing I do want to bring to your attention is that I know some people that are here. I know some of you, you're just getting started on YouTube, so you should know about this for when you're ready for it. But I know some of you, you're kind of at that tipping point where you're like, man, if I just had a little bit of help, like I know that I could take this to this next level. If I could hire an editor, I know I could take this to the next level, but I'm just not quite there yet. I want to let you know. Give me 1 second here. Let me share this just so you can see it. I want to let you know about a company that I started working with recently. Let me refresh this here. Boom. They're called Fundmates. And what they do is they actually do financing for YouTubers. And it's not like those, it's not like the companies that like license your catalog and they kind of trap you into not being able to escape. What they do here with Fundmates is they look at your ad revenue that you're generating, and then they give you a multiplier on the ad revenue. And with that, you don't have to pass like a credit check or anything like that. It's all based on your upload frequency or consistency. Like, hey, is this person consistently doing this? So that we can count on them continually doing it. And they're looking at your ad rates, and then they give you loans based on that, and you pay it back through AdSense. So one of the cool things about them is that it doesn't ding your credit or anything like that. And they also, if we scroll down here, I think it is. Yeah, if we scroll down here, they also have where they can actually help you on the backside too. So they actually have services as well as the financing to where they can also like help you with your channel. So the people that they use for this on the consulting side to help you, they're the people behind channels like 5 Minute Crafts and Brightside and channels like that, just like some massive channels on YouTube. And with this, their whole goal is to give you financing that you need to help you level up, so that hopefully you'll talk about them, and hopefully, if you need to take that next step, that you'll, come back and check them out as well. But they're called Fundmates. You can find them at fundmates.co. So if that is something that you're interested in, I got a link to them down in the description as well. But make sure that you do check them out. And on that note, hey, we got Roberto Blake in the house. What's going on, Roberto? Hope that you are doing awesome, man. Nice to see you in here. But on that note, I do want to let you know that we cleared the form. So we got all the questions covered for today. And on that note, I'm not 100% sure. I think this might be the last stream of the year, because, I'm getting married and stuff next week, and, we're taking some time for that. So we might end up, hopping in maybe for like a quick stream or something like that, but probably not. So because of that, I just want to wish you a happy holidays and a happy new year. For me, 2024 has been just a really incredible year. So I've been focused on a lot of other things, not really a lot of other things, but some other things, obviously, obviously, getting married, and, we went and, got engaged and all that stuff, learning how to build apps, those sorts of things. And, over the course of this year, I have, I just haven't published as much this year as I usually do. But come 2025, I'm going to be publishing more. And the approach that I'm going to be taking in 2025 is that I know, through all the questions that get asked during the streams and all the problems that I see, when people are publishing content, like I know, a good amount of the things that people need. And some of the videos I'm going to be publishing, for the sake of the view counts, because obviously, I'm a content creator too. But I'm going to be publishing sub content as well in 2025 that hopefully I'm going to experiment with them and see if you watch them. But basically, I'm not going to be super focused on retention on some of them as much as I am focused on like making sure that you can learn what it is that you need to learn. So because of that, just keep an eye out for those, as they start rolling out in 2025 as well. I'm also going to be talking about more like tools and how to do stuff, as a content creator as well. Just because, there's enough information out there about like, YouTube growth and things like that. And I answer the questions here, on the weekends. And I'll still make, that content as well. But, 2025, I'm just making a slight shift. And that shift is, still, serving, the, YouTube community. But I'm going to be talking about, updates that happen to YouTube. I'm going to be talking about, tools and how to use those tools. And I'm also still going to be doing the YouTube tip stuff while also putting in some actual like, training type stuff that's going to, hopefully help some of the concepts that we talk about a lot land more. Because I think a problem that's happening right now on YouTube is that all of us that are making this type of content, we publish videos, and we have to try to make them kind of like snappy and things like that, and we have to make sure that people are going to watch them for periods of time. So because of that, it kind of puts limits on sometimes what it is that we can do, because like I said, we're content creators too. So because of that, I think that there's holes in the information that you get, and I think that's one of the value pieces that come from this particular live stream is I get to kind of fill some of those holes. But I want to do it in the video content too, because there's things that you need to know that, and I'm sure Roberto can, get my back on this too. There's things that you guys need to know that, that sometimes we just don't put them in the videos because we know that as soon as we start talking about them, people start tuning out. Right. But, this year I'm going to go like really hard on just trying to, serve you with the information and the tools that you need in order to, turn 2025 into something serious. And if you're somebody that's really wanting to take this stuff to the next level next year, then you're going to love it. If you're somebody that does this casually, you're still going to get, a lot of value out of it. But for the people that are wanting to, do this seriously, like you're going to love it. And I'm going to try to explain things in the best way that I possibly can. And if it takes me, longer to explain it and the videos end up being longer because of it or whatever, like I'm fine with that, as long as you guys respond to them. So, we're going to see how you respond to them. If you don't like them, then I won't do them. But I'm going to, start doing some of those types of videos as well. So those will start coming out. I think the end of January is when I have the first one scheduled. If it's not the end of January, it's in the first like week of February, but it's somewhere in that range. But yeah, so just keep an eye out for more content coming from me in 2025. That is, hopefully going to help you in a bunch of different ways. But again, thank you so much. For those of you that have been around, for the whole year or, even longer, thank you so much. I'm, glad that you're still enjoying the content and, that you're still here. And for everybody, have a amazing holiday. Stay safe. Have a great, new year. And I still have some videos that are going to be published before, the end of the year. Even though I'm, taking some time off. I still have some videos that are going to go out. So make sure that you do check those out as well. But have a fantastic and happy holiday and a Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate Christmas, and have a super happy New Year and all of that stuff. And we'll see you next year. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Hit the sub button, hit the like button. If you're having fun, comment, type something. If you're laying back, leaning in, engaged.